Chapter 73-79. What's wrong? Shangguan Yingying asked, puzzled. There are more than 10 of them. The leader's aura is very strong. He should be more powerful than me and Beichen. Such an expert should be able to do well in the celestial realm. However, he came to a small town outside the chaotic celestial realm just to do business with the devouring spirit, or? Bailey Hongzhuang raised her eyebrows slightly. She knew it was impossible. Although the devouring spirit, or was rare outside, it was not too difficult for an expert in the elementary celestial realm. There was no need to pay such a high price to come outside, just for some devouring spirit organ. It was not worth it at all. Bai Lianche and the others also understood. At a glance, they saw there were 3 experts in the elementary celestial realm. Such a team could almost wipe out a large area in the chaotic celestial realm. No wonder the small town was facing such a disaster. Who are you? When Di Beichen was sizing up the man was also sizing up Di Beichen. You don't need to know who I am. What you need to know is whether you can leave here alive or not. Di Beichen did not say much. He unsheathed his long sword and dashed out quickly. Sword shadows scattered in the sky and attacked the man from all directions. Ding, 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 ding. Shocking sword chi exploded in the air, emitting waves that made people's hearts palpitate. The man did not expect Di Beichen to attack without saying anything. He waved the long sword in his hand, and the origin energy in his body surged. Then, he charged forward. Bang! Their swords collided, and a string of dazzling sparks sputtered out. Di Beichen's eyes narrowed. The man's strength was far beyond his imagination. You're just at the first stage of the elementary celestial realm. How dare you attack me? I'll send you to hell. The man shouted coldly. There is arrogance and wildness between his eyebrows. All of you attack. Leave no one alive. As soon as he said that, the cultivators behind the man charged forward with their weapons. Bailey Hongzhuang's eyes narrowed. Let's go. Yingying, you're in charge of saving them. Okay, Shangguan Yingying said without hesitation. The 8 of them might not be able to match up to the other party in terms of numbers, but their fighting prowess was on a whole different level. Shangguan Yingying's body was as nimble as a snake. She shuttled through the crowd and quickly rescued Jiang Zhen and Li Wuyo. As soon as he came out, Jiang Zhen unlocked the shackles on his body and took out his weapon. Then, he rushed forward aggressively. These guys, I'm going to kill them. Jiang Zhen. Yang Tianzhao was worried when he saw that Jiang Zhen was still so impulsive despite his injuries. He also wanted to rush up, but his cultivation level was not as high as theirs, and, coupled with his serious injuries, he would only be a burden if he went up, so he might as well stay here. Uncle Yang, can they win? Lu Qiu worriedly watched the great battle in front of him. The energy fluctuations were extremely shocking. He could only hear the sounds of fighting, but he couldn't see what was happening in the center of the battlefield. Yang Tianzhao hesitated for a moment before nodding. Yes, young Master Di and the others are very strong. In the center of the battlefield, Bailey Hongzhuang stopped after killing 3 people. The other party's strength was very strong compared to the entire town, but it wasn't much of a threat to them. The only thing they needed to pay attention to was the man in the lead. If she guessed correctly, the man was probably at the 2nd stage of the elementary celestial realm. Beichen alone could understand the difference between the 2nd stage and the 1st stage. Chapter 73-80. Lu Jin, your injuries aren't light. Rest for a while. Looking at the seriously injured Lu Jin, who was still charging forward, Bailey Hongzhuang tried to persuade him. Hearing this, Lu Jin couldn't help but be stunned. Miss Bailey, this? Bailey Hongzhuang glanced at Xiren and the others. Leave those guys to them. It's just a matter of time. There were only 3 people above the elementary celestial stage. Now, other than the leader, the other 2 had been dealt with. She noticed that Ling, and Bai Lianche were only holding back a few people. Only Xiren's situation was slightly dangerous. He had been in the Glorious Sun stage for a long time and hadn't met an opponent of equal strength for a long time. Now that he had the chance to fight, it was undoubtedly excellent. He would just treat it as finding someone practice. Lu Jin saw the situation clearly and immediately heaved a sigh of relief. A feeling of surviving a disaster spread. When he noticed Di Baichen's situation, he couldn't help but say, Lu Teng is a second-stage elementary celestial stage. Young Master Di is still a first-stage elementary celestial. I'm afraid we'll need help. He didn't expect Lu Teng to have broken through to the second-stage elementary celestial stage. That was why he fell into such a situation. Otherwise, even if they couldn't win, they still had some hope of escaping. It's okay. He can do it. Bailey Hongzhuang looked at the celestial figure in the air, her eyes full of trust. If the difference in strength was too great, the difference would have been obvious. However, Di Baichen's situation was obviously not difficult. The other party treated him as an ordinary first-stage elementary celestial stage. Once he underestimated the enemy, the consequences were already destined. Seeing Bailey Hongzhuang's confidence, Lu Jin was a little puzzled. Bang! A figure fell to the ground. Lu Teng retreated a few hundred meters before stabilizing his body. His eyes were filled with surprise. Are you really a first-stage elementary celestial stage? So what if I am? Di Baichen's eyes lit up. Ever since he knew that the elementary celestial stage's cultivation method was different, he had always wanted to know the difference between a tempered limb and an untempered limb. He didn't expect to have the opportunity to experience it so soon. The other party had obviously tempered his right hand, and the strength of his right hand was extremely shocking. In the beginning, he had almost fallen into his trap. Fortunately, his opponent's grasp of this power was not thorough enough. Furthermore, he had not grasped a very good martial skill, so he was not able to suppress him. Lu Teng's face turned even uglier after he received a positive answer. He was a rank 2, yet he couldn't even defeat a rank 1. It would be a joke if word got out. Just as he was about to make another move, he realized that Bailey Hongzhuang and the others were already standing at the side, watching their battle. Where are my people? He quickly looked around and realized that several of his men had already died. Only 3 of them were still fighting with one of the enemy's men. Hey, I'm not done here yet. Why are you guys watching the show over there? When Xiren had been holding back the 3 of them, waiting for Bailey Hongzhuang and the others to finish off their targets before they came to help him. However, as he waited, the fluctuations of the battle around him had already disappeared. Only then did he realize that something was wrong. He took a closer look and realized that these people had stopped to watch the show. They had no intention of helping him at all. Xiren, you've been freeloading all day. It's time for you to do something. Bali Yin Che chuckled. It's just 3 people. With your strength, it won't be a problem. CK, you guys are too much. Xiren was dumbfounded. Were they kidding him? Chapter 73-81. Why are the 3 of you only targeting me? Can't you see that there's someone else there? When Xiren could not help but ask his opponents. However, the 3 of them completely ignored him. What kind of joke was this? These people were all in the elementary celestial stage. If they were to attack, they would probably die before they could even reach them. Fortunately, there was one in the Radiant Sun stage among them. Who else could they target other than this person? You can hit anywhere, but not my face. As the saying goes, 2 fists are no match for 4 hands. Moreover, there were 3 of them, so when Xiren could not help but be hit, the 3 of them did not hold back and punched Xiren in the face. After being punched in the face, a burning pain came. Xiren immediately felt that his face must be swollen, and he immediately became angry. I already said not to hit my face, but you still hit my face. What's going on? Suddenly, everyone realized that Xiren seemed to have opened up his conception and governing vessels, and his attacks became unusually ruthless. Lu Qiyu looked at Xiren's sudden burst of shocking combat power, and his eyes were filled with shock. This, Shengguan Yingying thought for a moment and said, he probably cares more about his appearance. Lu Qiyu and Yang Tianzhao looked at each other. They knew that women usually cared more about their appearance, but they did not expect that there would be men like this too. Lu Teng felt a chill in his heart when he realized that the situation was settled. He thought that it would be easy to resolve today's matter, but he did not expect such an unforeseen event to occur. Immediately, a ferocious look appeared on his face, and it was obvious that he was prepared to fight Di Baichen to the death. Even if I die, I'll drag you down with me. Bailey Hongzhuang's expression turned serious when she saw this. The other party was not weak. If they fought with their lives on the line, perhaps Di Beichun would be in danger. However, just as Lu Teng charged forward and they were about to block him, they realized that this guy suddenly changed direction and ran in another direction. This guy is really cunning, Bailey Yinshe said in a daze. Di Beichun chuckled and said, "Leave it to me. I'll capture him." Seeing the man's confident appearance, Bailey Hongzhuang nodded slightly and was not worried. On the other side, the three people who were under Xiren's frenzied attacks were all killed. Xiren, if you had shown such combat power earlier, your face would not have been beaten into a pig's head. Bali Yin Che chuckled. Who would have thought that these guys are going overboard? When Xiren had a gloomy look on his face, he touched his bruised face and asked, "How's my face?" That's good, that's good." Only then did when Xiren reveal a relieved expression. Linger looked at Xiren in confusion and said, "Why are you suddenly so concerned about this?" "It's because Beichun and Yinshe are too handsome. I feel pressured to be concerned about them." Xiren shook his head and sighed, then looked at Xiao Xuanzi and said, "Xiao Xuanzi, you should be thinking the same thing as me." Xiao Xuanzi, scram. Xiren, what's there to be afraid of? Xiao Xuanzi, do you want to be punched in the face again? Xiren, pretend I didn't say anything. Bailey Hongzhuang looked at the farce between the two and shook her head. She noticed that Yang Tianzhao was already treating Jiang Zhen's wound, then looked at Lu Jin and asked, "What is going on? How do they target this place?" Chapter 73-82. Lu Jin shook his head, his face full of confusion. "I don't know either. They suddenly appeared a few days ago. I don't know where they got the news from. They'd been wandering around the town before, so we noticed something was wrong. But after we found out, they left. I didn't expect them to suddenly appear here today, and they have already investigated the situation clearly." Yang Tianzhao also walked over and said, "Su Shun died so quickly. Maybe these people have something to do with him." Over the years, Su Shun had been setting up a trap. When they came back from the Heavenly Moat, everything went smoothly. After that, they didn't encounter any danger. Gradually, they treated it as if the dust had settled. Now it seemed that the helpers Su Shun had found were stronger than they thought. Hearing this, Bailey Hongzhuang frowned slightly. If the other party was really Su Shun's people, then they came here so late. Their information was too outdated. Don't think too much. Now, this matter has come to an end. You're seriously injured, so you should go back and rest first. Although Lu Jin and the others' lives were not in danger, they'd been severely beaten before and looked very miserable. How are the others in the town? When they arrived earlier, they had noticed a lot of blood here. Presumably, many people had died in the hands of those people. Hearing this, Lu Jin reacted and hurriedly said, "Lu Teng also sent a few people to control the others. Shen Xuxing is in their hands. I don't know how he is now." "Where are they?" Bailey Hongzhuang's eyes narrowed, and her face became serious. "They should be in the inn." Her voice fell, and Bailey Hongzhuang and the others quickly rushed in the direction of the inn. Shen Xuxing was undoubtedly the first friend they made in the town. If it weren't for his help, everything would not have gone so smoothly. Inside the room, Shen Xuxing, who was covered in wounds, stood in front of the shopkeeper. "What do you want to do?" "Let me ask you, who is Di Beichun's friend?" the man asked coldly. Shen Xuxing looked at the man with surprise. Could it be that this man was Di Beichun's enemy? "Who's Di Beichun? I've never heard of this name," the shopkeeper hurriedly replied. It was obvious that this man was their enemy. If they admitted that they knew him, they would all be in big trouble. "Old man, who asked you?" The man kicked the shopkeeper. "I advise you not to have any other thoughts. We've already found out that they went to the crossing celestial domain from here. Lu Jin and the others will die today. If you obediently tell us the others, we might have a chance of survival." Shen Xuxing and the others felt their hearts skip a beat. They had caused such a huge commotion here. If nothing had happened, Lu Jin and the others would have already arrived. However, they had not arrived yet. This meant that they were in a terrible situation. Perhaps they were really being controlled. If they were really controlled, then they and even the entire town would be finished. The man noticed that Shen Suxing's expression kept changing, and he knew that Shen Suxing must know something. Hurry up and tell me. Shen Suxing's expression changed slightly, but he still did not say anything. He and Bei Chan were friends, so naturally, he could not betray him. Chapter 73-83. I don't know, I really don't know. Shen Suxing kept thinking in his heart. The other party came for Di Beichen, but from the content of the question, it was unlikely that the other party could find them through the natural moat. The reason why he did this was probably because he wanted to vent his anger. No matter who he said was Di Beichen's friend, that person would definitely die. The people in the town had always lived in harmony. No one would be pushed out as a scapegoat. I think you want to die. The man lost his patience and directly stabbed Shen Suxing's leg with his sword. Swish! Blood spurted out. Ah! Shen Suxing couldn't help but scream. The pain in his leg made his face pale. Suxing, are you okay? The shopkeeper was also frightened by the scene. The bright red blood reflected in his eyes. He covered Shen Suxing's injured leg with his hands and said, "We really don't know. You forced us, but we still don't know anything." The man snorted coldly. "Since you don't know, there's no use for you to keep you alive. Just kill all of you together." Outside the house, Bailey Hongzhuang and the others sped up after hearing the scream. They quickly rushed to the inn. Bang! The door of the inn was directly kicked open, and it instantly shattered into pieces. When a man inside saw that the person who kicked the door was a heavenly beauty, his eyes were filled with excitement. Yo, I didn't know that there was such a beauty in this town. It's really an eye-opener. Facing the man's covetous face, Bailey Hongzhuang didn't say anything and directly sent him flying with a kick. The most eye-opening part is yet to come. The man didn't take Bailey Hongzhuang's attack seriously. He only thought that it was a showy but impractical move. He didn't expect that this kick would directly send him flying and fiercely hit the wall. He directly spat out a mouthful of blood. Shen Suxing and the shopkeeper finally saw Bailey Hongzhuang and the others clearly. Their faces were suddenly filled with excitement. "Hongzhuang, when did you come back?" "I'm lucky. I made it just in time." Bailey Hongzhuang couldn't help but rejoice. If they didn't come back today and came back 2 days later, the entire town would probably have ceased to exist. "We're really lucky." The shopkeeper heaved a sigh of relief. "I'm too old to take such a shock. I almost fainted." Shen Suxing smiled as if he had just survived a disaster. "We're not fated to die yet. Woman, you're courting death." When the remaining two saw that the man was sent flying, they immediately rushed towards Bailey Hongzhuang. However, the essence energy in Bailey Hongzhuang's body surged as she struck out 2 consecutive palms. The two of them ended up in the same state. Initial immortal stage. The two men looked at Bailey Hongzhuang in astonishment. They had already investigated this place. The experts in the initial immortal stage were clearly under Lu Tang's control, so they slowly interrogated them here. They didn't expect that another initial immortal stage expert would appear at this time. Bailey Hongzhuang glanced at Bai Li Yanche. The latter immediately understood and walked towards the 3 men. The 3 of them only saw a purple wind sweep past. 2 of them directly went to see the King of Hell. Only one of them was left, and he was tied up by Bai Li Yanche. "Miss Bailey, quickly take a look at Suxing's leg." The shopkeeper released his blood-stained hands and looked anxiously at Bailey Hongzhuang. "He's still so young. His leg can't be broken." Chapter 73-84. "Let me take a look." Bailey Hongzhuang tore open the trousers around the wound. The ghastly wound immediately came into view. She cleaned the wound and applied some medicine. The wound is very deep. He needs to recuperate for a while, but it won't affect his ability to walk in the future. "Don't worry." Shen Suxing smiled. "It's not a big deal. It's already not easy to keep my life today." "You silly child. A bad life is better than a good death. You haven't even married yet. Why are you saying such things?" The shopkeeper scolded angrily. "Don't do this in the future." "Yes." Bailey Hongzhuang and the others laughed when they saw this. The atmosphere became much more relaxed. "Other than this place, are there any other places that are under control?" Shun Xuxing shook his head. No, that's good. Bailey Hongzhuang nodded. You all rest for a while. I'll go take a look at Beichen. Just as Bailey Hongzhuang was about to go out, she saw Di Beichen's figure. I'm already back. Di Beichen walked in front and dragged Lu Tung all the way back. Compared to his arrogant appearance before, Lu Tung was obviously much more miserable now. His face was bruised black and blue, almost like a pig's head. His sullen face was filled with fear and panic. When the crowd saw that Lu Tung was not only defeated by Di Beichen, but also dragged back, their eyes were filled with amazement. A rank, one defeated a rank too. Beichen, you're really something. Xiren looked at Di Beichen with admiration. Last time, he also learned about the cultivation method after the elementary immortal stage, so he understood the difference between rank 1 and rank 2. This was the first time they fought, and he could defeat a rank 2 directly. It was obvious that his strength was not ordinary. This guy's combat strength is not very good. I think he's at the bottom of rank 2. He's not worth mentioning. Di Beichen glanced at Lu Tung indifferently. He did not take him seriously at all. He had fought with Qing Devil before, but Qing Devil's cultivation was undoubtedly much higher than Lu Tang's. There was no comparison between the two at all. It was embarrassing that a rank 2 was defeated by a rank 1 cultivator. Now he was humiliated by this guy in front of so many people. Lu Tung was so angry that he was about to vomit blood. It was not because he was weak, but because this guy's combat strength was beyond his expectations. Lu Tung's eyes. Lu, what's the matter with you? Lu Tung's face darkened, and he didn't answer. Beichen his. Calm. Not only did he reach rank 1, but his combat strength was even stronger than his. Wasn't this a trap? Shun Xuxing had been helped to a chair by the others. When he saw Di Beichen, he said, Beichen, these people are here for you. Are they your enemies? As soon as these words came out, everyone's eyes fell on Di Beichen. These people were actually here for him? Di Beichen turned his eyes and looked at Lu Tung. Who sent you here? They had never seen Lu Tung before. Naturally, they did not know him. Since he could come here to find them, he must be well informed. Lu Tung raised his head and said, Since I've fallen into your hands today, I'm dead for sure. Chapter 7385. No matter what, I won't tell you. Don't waste your time. Lu Tung's expression was resolute, as if he was ready to risk everything. If he couldn't accomplish this task, he would die either way. There was no room for negotiation. Hearing this, Lu Jin and the others could not help but sigh. They were the ones who had fallen into such a predicament. They did not expect that in the blink of an eye, it would be Lu Tung who fell into such a predicament. Bai Yin Che and the others subconsciously looked at Bailey Hongzhuang. In terms of interrogation, she was the best. Lu Ting noticed the expressions of the others and felt a little strange. He did not understand what was going on. However, he soon understood. If you don't want to talk, I have ways to make you talk. Bailey Hongzhuang did not give Lu Ting a choice. She reached out and stuffed the poison into his mouth. What did you feed me? Lu Tung panicked. Death was nothing to be afraid of, but the process of dying. If you can hold back and not talk, I'll admit that you're amazing. Hearing this, Bai Yin Che and the others could not help but look at Lu Tung sympathetically. This guy was going to be miserable later. Yang Tianzhao and the others understood what Bailey Hongzhuang was going to do. However, this guy had almost destroyed their entire town, so he deserved to end up like this. Therefore, no one pitied him at all. Not long after, Lu Tung felt as if his entire body was on fire. Intense pain emerged from every corner of his body. His face instantly turned red. Even if he clenched his teeth, it was useless. This kind of pain was more painful than any pain he had ever endured. Woman, what did you do to me? Lu Tung shouted crazily. He had seen many poisons, but he had never seen any that could be so strong. I won't ask you, so don't ask me either. Bailey Hongzhuang's face was indifferent as she sat on the side. She didn't seem to care at all. Lu Tung rolled on the ground. His face was extremely ferocious. His eyes were bloodshot, and the veins on his forehead were bulging. I'll talk. I'll tell you everything. Please, I beg you, give me a quick death. Lu Tung crawled step by step to Bailey Hongzhuang and begged in extreme pain. The pain made him feel that even death was a kind of mercy. However, Bailey Hongzhuang did not care. Didn't you plan to say it? Bailey Hongzhuang sneered. Even if you want to say it now, I don't want to hear it. Lu Tong's eyes widened as he stared at Bailey Hongzhuang in disbelief. You poisonous woman. Throw him out. When Xiren lifted Lu Ting up and casually threw him outside. I've long found this guy an eyesore. Bailey Hongzhuang looked at the man in the corner whose face was already pale with fright and said, I'll give you a chance. Will you speak or not? I'll tell you everything. The man said without hesitation. He knew how powerful Lu Tong was. Now that Lu Tong had kowtowed and begged for mercy, there was no need for him to say anything. Miss, I'll tell you everything. I only ask that you can give me a quick death. Sure. Bailey Hongzhuang's lips curled, but her eyes were still cold. That is on the premise that you're telling the truth. Otherwise, I'll let you taste more pain than he did. The man's heart trembled. He did not dare to have any thoughts and hurriedly said, Of course, I'll never lie. Chapter 73-86. Bailey Hongzhuang and the others finally understood what was going on after hearing the flustered man's narration. It turned out that they were sent by Qing Mo previously. They were looking for traces of Bailey Hongzhuang's group, so they came to the small town. After telling the news to Qing Devil and the others went to the crossing Immortal Realm first. Before they set off, Qing Devil left a message for them. He told them to kill all the people related to Di Beiqian in the small town. As long as they did it, they would be rewarded. Qing Devil was quite powerful in the Immortal Realm. Although their cultivations were good, they hadn't gained a firm foothold in the Immortal Realm. Therefore, they wanted to follow Qing Devil wholeheartedly. This matter was their stepping stone. Originally, this matter was assigned to someone else. However, after Lu Tong heard the news, he spent a lot of effort to take over this task. Who would have thought that this task, which was supposed to be easy, would end up like this? It was beyond everyone's expectation. After learning about this simple plot, Bailey Hongzhuang and the others fell silent. In this case, all the people in the small town were implicated. It's our fault. We're sorry to have implicated you. Di Beiqian's voice was low, and his handsome face was full of guilt. Even if it was not clear how many casualties there were in the small town, but according to the situation they had seen along the way, the number of cultivators who had fallen was not small. Lu Jin and the others looked pale. None of them expected to be implicated in such an unexpected disaster. And it was Di Beiqian and the others who caused all this. Who else knows about this except you? Not many people know about it. Brother Lu has killed those people. As for the others, they were killed by you, the man said in a trembling voice. Hearing this, the others felt a little relieved. At least, no one knew about this matter anymore. With Qing Devil's current condition, he wouldn't waste his time on this kind of thing. I'm really sorry, Bailey Hongzhuang said guiltily. Her dark, almond-shaped eyes were full of hatred. She had long known that the Qing Devil was not a good person, but she did not expect him to be so evil. The Qing Devil wanted to kill all the people who knew them. It meant that anyone who knew them would be regarded as an enemy by the Qing Devil. This level of cruelty really made one blush with shame. Lu Jin and the others were silent at first. In the end, it was Shun Xuxing who broke the silence. You didn't expect this to happen. Besides, you saved us today. Seeing this, the shopkeeper also said, That's right, this is something that no one has ever thought of. If you want to blame someone, you can only blame that guy for being too vicious. Yeah, Lu Qiyu's face was full of anger. That Qing Devil is really crazy. Will you be in danger when you go to the Immortal Realm in the future? We will avenge you, Di Beiqian said. I believe in you. Lu Jin also thought it through. Although the smile on his face was a little forced, it was not as complicated as before. It hasn't been long since they went to the Immortal Realm, but they have already broken through to the first stage. Di Beiqian and Shun Xuxing had just broken through to the elementary Immortal Realm, but they had already broken through to the first stage in such a short time. He thought that their progress would be very slow after they went to the Immortal Realm. He didn't expect them to be faster than he thought. It was obvious that these two were very talented. Chapter 73-87. Where is Qing Devil in the Immortal Realm now? Di Beiqian asked. He's in the Qing Pengzhou. The man answered without hesitation. There are 13 continents in the immortal realm. Qing Devil is in the Qing Pengzhou. The Qing Pengzhou used to be the stronghold of Qing Devil. His remaining forces are here. Therefore, he came back to the Qing Pengzhou after he returned to the immortal realm. However, Qing Devil has many enemies. Therefore, people only know that he is in the Qing Pengzhou, but they don't know his exact location. It's said that he has more than one stronghold. How did you get in touch with Qing Devil? Lu Tong got the news when he was in the Qing Pengzhou. It's said that he knew one of Qing Devil's subordinates. I don't know much about this. According to Lu Tong, he got the news after the other party got drunk. It's said that one can find Qing Devil in the Qing Pengzhou with a token. A token? That's right. The man nodded. After Lu Tong got the news from the other party, he killed him directly. I think this token should be in Lu Tong's storage ring. Hearing this, everyone's eyes lit up. Since there was a token, it would be much easier for them to find Qing Devil in the future. From a man's narration, everyone already had a vague outline of the immortal realm that they had no understanding of. However, this person's strength was not strong, and the things he knew were very limited. Many of them were heard from other people, so they could not completely believe it. All right, Di Bei Chen retracted his gaze. In any case, this news was of great use to them. Bali Yin Che took the man out and gave him a quick death. At the same time, he took back the man's and Lu Tong's storage rings. This should be the token he mentioned. Bali Yin Che took out a token with the word Qing written on it. Just like Qing Ji, who they killed before, Qing Devil and his subordinates were all named with the word Qing, which was their symbol. Di Beichen took the token and looked at it carefully. Then he put away. Qing Devil came to find us. Now it's time for us to go to his stronghold. Today's enmity would be engraved in their hearts, and they would definitely return it all in the future. An eye for an eye, an eye for an eye. This had always been their way of doing things. However, there was one thing they didn't want to see, and that was they didn't want to see the fish in the moat get implicated. The Azure Fiend's actions were completely immoral, which made them hate him from the bottom of their hearts. Lu Qiyu and the others noticed the expressions of Di Bei Chun and the others, and their faces couldn't help but show a worried look. Jiang, are you going to the immortal realm? We originally planned to go to the immortal domain this time around. Have you found the person you're looking for? Jiang Jin asked. Di Bei Chun was surprised. Then he said, yes, but she was taken away by Qing Devil. So we still have to find Qing Devil. Hearing this, everyone understood. It seems that this person is very important to you. They traveled thousands of miles to come here and even traveled between the immortal realm and the immortal realm. If she wasn't important, they wouldn't have put in so much effort. She's our enemy. Di Beichen's eyes darkened. This time, we won't let her get away. It had been a long journey from the upper world to the immortal realm and then to the immortal realm. Chapter 7388. Enemy. Yang Tianzhao was stunned. They had always thought that Di Beichen and his group had spent so much effort to travel to the crossing celestial realm, so the other party must be someone very important to them. However, they had never thought that the other party would be their enemy. Such an enemy. They must have a blood feud with him. That's right. Di Beichun smiled faintly. There are always grudges that must be settled. Then, you'll avenge our town as well. When the time comes, you'll avenge them as well. Jiang Jin's expression was serious. One could see the anger in his heart from his expression. They had lived in this town for so long, and they had developed feelings for everyone. Now, so many people had died in this town. It was indescribable how sad they were. I will. Di Beichen nodded. After I've avenged them, I'll tell you the news. Okay. After that, everyone settled Shun Xuxing and Lu Qiyu down to rest. Then, they went to check on the situation in the town. Many people had died in the town. Fortunately, Lu Jin had informed the others immediately before the incident happened. Therefore, many people took the opportunity to escape. They only returned after everything had stabilized. Therefore, even though there were many casualties, the town's foundation was still there. Lu Jin and the others tacitly did not mention that this trouble was caused by Di Beichun and his group. They only said that other people had noticed that something was wrong with the spirit-devouring stone, and wanted to take a share of the loot. No one doubted this news. They had always kept a low profile and did not mention anything about the spirit-devouring stone. However, there was no such thing as an absolute secret in this world. Eventually, someone would find out about it. Bailey Hongzhuang clenched her fists when she saw the sorrowful expressions on everyone's faces. Qing Devil. I'll kill him. This guy is really despicable. Shangguan Yingying was furious. He's a cultivator in the elementary celestial realm. How could he kill these people? He's really sick. Generally speaking, when a cultivator's strength had increased to a certain level, they would not be interested in attacking cultivators who were too weak. Just like how they were not interested in attacking cultivators from the upper realm, this was a kind of bullying in itself. Everyone had a tacit understanding not to do so unless the other party provoked them. Qing Devil had gone too far this time. I'm afraid we have to be more careful in the future. I thought we had done a good job, but Qing Devil still found out our whereabouts easily. I'm afraid we have to be careful even if we want to make friends in the future. Bali Yanche's expression was grave. This time, because of them, so many people in the small town had lost their lives. If they didn't want to implicate others, they had to be more careful. Otherwise, once the other party seized the opportunity, trouble would come. Judging from Qing Devil's means, he was ready to risk everything. He would do anything that could hurt them without hesitation. Unless we get rid of the Qing Devil, we have to be careful. Deep Baichin nodded slightly. I understand. Last time, Qing Devil was injured. I don't know how he is now. Xiren sighed. Suddenly, his expression changed, and he said, since even the small town has been implicated, will Yunju and others be in danger? Obviously, Qing Devil had found out that they had stayed in Xi'an City. As long as they followed the clues, they would find out everything. Chapter 73-89. Hearing Xiren's words, everyone's expression changed. We can't stay here any longer. We have to go back as soon as possible. Let's go. Everyone decided to leave almost immediately. Xiren's guess was very reasonable. The people in the town didn't have much to do with them, but now they ended up like this. Yunju and the others were definitely the Qing Devil's targets. If anything happens to Yunju and the others, I will definitely cut the Qing Devil into pieces. Bailey Hongzhuang's face was gloomy, and her clear black and white eyes were shining with a gloomy light. Boss, after you left, some people came to Xi'an City to inquire about the news. At that time, I didn't know who they were, but I arranged some means to get rid of them. Maybe it will work. You don't have to worry too much. Hearing this, Deep Baichun nodded slightly, but the worry in his eyes didn't disappear. He didn't know whether this means would work or not. The Qing Devil's people were not stupid. They couldn't be fooled by ordinary camouflage. Yunju and the others are also very powerful. Even if they really encounter the Qing Devil, they will have a way to deal with it. Bailey Hongzhuang comforted herself. Yunju and Zhongli were very powerful. When they left, they were looking for an opportunity to break through. According to her judgment, they should have broken through to the elementary celestial stage now. The Qing Devil just asked someone to do it. He probably didn't spend too much effort on it. Naturally, the people he sent wouldn't be too powerful. Facing the people in the town, Bailey Hongzhuang and the others felt guilty, but there was nothing they could do for them now. The only thing they could do was to leave some cultivation resources and elixirs for them. You can leave with peace of mind. The town will soon be as good as new. Lu Jin noticed the guilt of Deep Baichun and the others, and a relieved smile appeared on his face. After such a thing happened, don't you plan to leave? Bailey Hongzhuang asked. Lu Jin shook his head slightly. Our town has existed for many years and has always been doing this kind of business. In the realm of chaotic immortal, devouring stones are very rare. We are one of the sources. If we disappear, those people will not let us go easily. Besides, our two sects are already used to these things. It's not a big deal, so you don't have to worry too much. It won't be long before we return to our original state. Everyone will be the same as before. Seeing this, Bailey Hongzhuang had a complicated look on her face, but she understood what he meant. Every place had its own beliefs. This town had been doing the spirit-devouring stone business for a long time. Almost everyone was used to it. If they left this place, they would not be used to it. We already know your intentions. Everyone is very grateful to you for giving us so many healing pills and cultivation resources. This is what we should do. I know that this can't make up for anything, but this is all we can do for now. Bailey Hongzhuang was a little ashamed. When we kill the Qing devil in the future, we will definitely use this good news to pay tribute to the dead souls underground. We are waiting for your good news, Jiang Zhen said with a hearty smile. Jiang Zhen laughed heartily. When you become stronger in the future, you have to protect us. Don't think about these things for now. Goodbye. Take care. Chapter 7390. We do owe everyone in the town, but there's nothing we could do now. You've introduced Zhou Su and the others to Lu Jin. In the future, we can ask our eldest brother to do business with him. I think everyone in the town will be better off. Seeing Bailey Hongzhuang's worried look, Di Beichen held her hand and said gently. Bailey Hongzhuang nodded slightly. In the past, there have been many cultivators who have fallen, but because of us, there are not many who have been implicated. I'm really sorry. So, am I. Di Beichen looked into the distance. Everything will come to an end eventually. King Peng's Xiao Soa looked at Qing Devil, who was still in a coma, her face full of worry. He has been in a coma for so long and has taken all the medicine. Why hasn't he woken up yet? You are a bunch of good-for-nothings. What kind of quack doctor did you find? Two of Qing Devil's men were half kneeling in front of her. Hearing Xiao Sou's angry words, there was a trace of impatience between their eyebrows. We found the best doctor in King Pengzu. Then why hasn't he woken up yet? Xiao Sou roared and slammed the teacup in front of the man. Miss, according to the doctor, there are some hidden dangers left by His Excellency's possession. It will take some time for these hidden dangers to be eliminated gradually. Now he encountered such a thing and was seriously injured. He has used the best medicine to save His Excellency's life. Although he has been in a coma for a long time this time, as long as he wakes up, his previous hidden dangers will completely disappear. You don't have to worry too much. Miss, Xiao Sou's eyes became sharp. How many times have I told you? Call me madam. I'm Qing Devil's woman. I gave birth to his child. I'm the hostess here. You all have to call me madam. The man remained silent. No matter how angry Xiao Sou was, neither of them responded. They only knew that the young master was Qing Devil's child, but they couldn't be sure whether this woman was qualified to be the hostess. Unless His Excellency says it himself after he wakes up, we won't call anyone madam. Seeing that the two men were like stones in a latrine, Xiao Sou gave up her plan and said coldly, "Wait and see. When Qing Devil wakes up, I'll make you kowtow and apologize. We'll make amends." Xiao Sou was so angry that she laughed. She wanted to take advantage of the time when Azure Demon was in a coma to secure her position as the mistress. When they first met in the Crossing Immortal region, she knew that Azure Demon did not care about her at all. Now that Di Beichen and his companions had found Dushin Domain, Qing Devil was her only support. If she did not grasp all of this, it would be impossible for her to continue living in the immortal domain. Fortunately, she still had her child. As long as she had her child, she would have the greatest support. No matter what, the Azure Demon would not abandon his child's mother. By the way, have you done what I asked you to do? We've checked. Di Beichen and his companions stayed in Xi'an City. Except for the city lord, they didn't have many close friends, the man replied. The corners of Xiao Sou's lips curled up slightly. Let's get rid of everyone who is related to them. They don't have a good relationship with these people. The man frowned. Chapter 7391. So what? Xiao Sou raised her eyebrows and said, "You've seen how powerful Di Beichen and his companions are. They're always like this. Even if they don't see each other for a while, their strength will improve a lot. Now that the Qing Devil hasn't woken up, we have no other choice. The only thing we can do is to get rid of their subordinates first. Otherwise, once they grow up, they will become more troublesome for us. Moreover, if we do that, their mood will be affected. Maybe their strength will improve more slowly." Hearing that, the two men looked at each other with a trace of hesitation. Seeing that they were still reluctant, Xiao Sou's face darkened immediately. "I think you two have been disloyal for a long time. So you didn't do what you should do when the Qing Devil was unconscious?" They are from the chaotic immortal realm. Their strength is much weaker than ours. Moreover, Di Baichen and his companions have already gone to the chaotic immortal realm. It's really unnecessary for us to do that. How do you know he won't go back? Xiao Shou snorted coldly. I asked you to do other things, but you didn't want to do it. Now, you don't even want to do such a small thing. How can I not be suspicious? When the Azure Demon wakes up, I'll definitely tell him everything. Let's see if you'll have a good time then. Miss, we will send someone to do it, the man said. That's more like it, Xiao Shou said with a cold face. You can leave now. After they left the room, the two men's faces darkened to the extreme. So King unlucky. Why did Master fall in love with such a woman? There are so many women in the Qing Peng continent who are much better than her. It's useless to say that now. I think Master doesn't care about her. However, for the sake of the child, she won't leave here in the future. We'd better be patient. Are we really going to do the thing in the chaotic immortal realm? What can we do if we don't do it? This woman is clearly using a chicken feather as a token of authority. She's deliberately causing trouble while my lord is unconscious. Di Baichen and the others are indeed not weak. Now that my lord has yet to wake up, we don't know if they have the intention of coming to us. There's nothing wrong with us doing something. That's true, but this is too much of a bully. The man scoffed inwardly. We have some reputation in the immortal region, yet we're going to deal with those fellows from the realm of chaos? I'm not that idiot, Qing Ji. Even he went to the realm of chaotic immortal because he had other things to do. What's going on with us? The man didn't say anything. He only sighed. This situation was indeed very embarrassing. Shiyun City. When Bai Ziwan saw Mo Yunjue and his group, he immediately welcomed them. Young Master Mo, you're here. Please come in. Mo Yunjue bowed with his hands clasped in front of him before following him inside. Before Di Baichen and his group left, he had introduced them to the city governor so they could take care of each other. Bai Ziwan asked, Young Master Mo, it's been so long. Is there still no news from young Master Di and the others? Mo Yunjue shook his head slightly. Not yet. We think they'll be back soon. Therefore, we plan to wait in Shiyun City to avoid missing them. Bai Ziwan understood when he heard this. That's true. The realm of chaotic immortal is huge. It'll be difficult to find them if we miss them. Chapter 73-92. We came to find City Lore by today because we hope that you can help us keep an eye out for them. Once they return to Shiyun City, they will definitely come to see you. At that time, I hope that you can tell us where we live so that it will be more convenient for us to meet up. From what young Master Mo said, it seems that you don't plan to go out and train for the time being. Back then, I went out to train so that I could break through to the elementary immortal stage as soon as possible. Now that I've broken through, I might as well rest for a while to stabilize my cultivation. After I meet up with them, we will head to the immortal region together. Mo Yunjue spoke very naturally as if he was talking about something very ordinary. However, when Bai Ziwan and Bai Qingli heard this, they could not help but reveal a shocked expression. The elementary immortal stage was a step that stopped many cultivators. Many people were stuck for decades, or even centuries without being able to break through. Previously, Di Baichen and Bailey Hongzhuang had both broken through, which was already an eye-opener for them. Now, Mo Yunjue and Zhongli Mu had also broken through. This kind of strength was really amazing. In just 2 short years, the shackles have been broken through. It was really amazing. Young Master Mo and young Master Zhongli are really first-class geniuses. It's admirable. City Lord, you flatter us. The speed of our breakthroughs is much slower. What are you talking about? Bai Ziwan had a serious expression on his face. I've been the City Lord for quite some time now, and I've seen countless cultivators. However, to be able to break through the elementary immortal stage as quickly as you guys is truly rare. You guys have really opened my eyes. Qingli, you have to work hard too. Bai Ziwan looked at Bai Qingli. He had always felt that his son's talent was very outstanding. He believed that as long as he had enough time, he would definitely have a chance to break through to the elementary immortal stage in this lifetime. However, when compared to these geniuses, the gap was immediately obvious. Although Bai Qingli was envious, he was not jealous. After interacting with Di Beichun and the others, he had long understood the difference between a true genius and an ordinary genius. "Father, I will," Bai Qingli said. "However, if you want me to break through as quickly as Di Beichun and the others, that's impossible." At first, Bai Ziyuan felt a little regretful. However, when he saw his son's broad chest, a smile immediately appeared on his face. "Not bad. You just have to work hard." Bai Ziyuan patted Bai Qingli's shoulder. "I believe you will break through one day." After Imo, Yunju had told Bai Ziyuan where they were staying, he stood up and said his goodbyes. They planned to go into seclusion for a while to stabilize their cultivation and improve themselves. "Young Master Imo, don't worry. As long as I see young Master D, I will definitely tell them this news." "Thank you very much. You're too polite." Bai Ziyuan sent Imo, Yunjue and the others off with a smile. In the past, he had always admired these young people, but now that they were experts in the elementary celestial stage, their status was no longer inferior to his. Moreover, judging by the speed at which the other party was improving, it wouldn't be long before he would have to address the other party respectfully. In the world of cultivation, strength was everything. Age had never meant anything. However, just as Bai Ziyuan and his group walked into the courtyard, they suddenly realized that there were a few more strangers here. "Who are you people?" Bai Ziyuan's expression changed abruptly. The other party dared to openly barge into his city lord's mansion. Did they think that there was no one in his city lord's mansion? Chapter 73-93. You're the city lord of Cloud City. The man in the lead ignored Bai Ziyuan's anger and asked such a question instead. "That's right. I'm a city lord of Cloud City." Bai Ziyuan's expression turned fierce. "Who are you people? Do you know the consequences of trespassing into the city lord's mansion? We're looking for you." The man snorted. "Kill him. What about the people next to him? Kill them all." "Yes." The other party did not hesitate at all. Hearing the man's order, they charged forward boldly and decisively. In the blink of an eye, the two servants of the city lord's mansion were dead. "Father, be careful." Bai Qingli quickly took out her weapon and blocked the other party's sword that was aimed at Bai Ziyuan. Bai Ziyuan took 2 steps back and quickly took out his weapon. "Who are you people? Even if you want to kill me, you should at least let me know, right? You don't deserve to know." The man in the lead did not intend to explain at all. What kind of joke was this? He was from the celestial realm. Now that he had come to the celestial realm to kill someone, it was fine if others did not know about it. However, if this spread, how could he face others in the future? "Since you want to kill me, this is the city lord's mansion's business. It has nothing to do with others." After this exchange, Bai Ziyuan realized that the other party's strength was extremely powerful. It was much stronger than he had expected. Over the years, his foundation in Cloud City had been stable, and he had not offended anyone. Logically speaking, he should not have any deep grudges with anyone. But now, the other party had attacked him without saying a word. Obviously, there was a deep grudge between them. Who on earth has such a deep hatred for me? Bai Ziyuan pondered in his heart. Unfortunately, he had been keeping a low profile all these years. Even if there were conflicts between the various city lords because of benefits, it would not develop into a blood feud. Thinking about it carefully, he really did not understand. "None of you can escape." The man looked disdainfully at Imo, Yunjue, and the others. "They're here today. It can only be said that they're unlucky." Seeing that the other party was so unreasonable, Bai Ziyuan was also angry. What kind of enemy was this? Generally speaking, when an enemy came knocking on the door, they would definitely clearly state the reason for their enmity. How could there be someone who would kill without a second word like this? They didn't even give the slightest chance to explain themselves. Simply detestable. "Young Master Imo, I've implicated you in today's matter," Bai Ziyuan said in shame. Imo Yunjue chuckled as his eyes flashed with a cold light. "Governor Bai, there's no need to take it to heart. The other party's tone is so arrogant that they want all of us to die here. Let's see if they have the ability to do so." Zhong Limu coldly snorted. "Over the past few years, there have been many people who wanted my head, but none of them succeeded. All of you are just following in their footsteps. Arrogant brat. Let me show you what it means by there's always someone better than you out there." The man threw a punch at Zhongli. The strong wind from the punch exploded the air, creating a shocking sonic boom. It was obvious that he wanted to cripple Zhongli with one punch. Zhongli eyes narrowed, and he didn't dodge at all as he threw a punch forward. Bang! When their fists collided, a trace of astonishment appeared in their eyes. Beginner Celestial Stage. Beginner Celestial Stage. Zhongli was surprised that his opponent was an expert in the Beginner Celestial Stage. However, his opponent also did not expect Zhongli to have reached the Beginner Celestial Stage at such a young age. Chapter 73-94. Father, they're at the initial Celestial Stage. Bai Qingli furrowed her brows. It was rare to see such a powerful cultivator in the chaotic celestial realm. If they had offended such a powerful cultivator, they would definitely remember it very clearly. However, when she thought about all the enemies she had made over the years, she could not find such a powerful cultivator. As for the fact that someone would pay such a high price to hire a powerful cultivator at the initial celestial stage to deal with them, she did not think it was possible. To hire a powerful cultivator at the initial celestial stage was not a small price to pay. Furthermore, judging from the fluctuations of their auras, it was likely that there was more than one person at the initial celestial stage in their group. As far as she knew, no one would be able to hire such a powerful cultivator. I don't think I've ever offended such an enemy. Bai Ziyuan was a little flustered. Such a powerful opponent was clearly trying to destroy the city governor's mansion. City Governor Bai, there's no need to think so much. We'll find out once we've captured them and interrogated them. Mo Yunjue curled the corners of his lips into a disdainful sneer. His eyes, which were as deep as a black hole, were cold and merciless. He then attacked his opponent with an awe-inspiring aura. Bang, bang, bang. Shocking waves of energy erupted from the battle. The entire courtyard was instantly turned into a pile of rubble. The city governor's mansion had always thought that its defenses were pretty good. However, under such circumstances, they could not withstand a single blow. Bai Ziyuan had even warned everyone not to enter the mansion. The difference between their cultivation levels was too great. Entering the mansion would only result in death. Boom! Bai Ziyuan was sent flying with a single punch from his opponent. Father! Bai Qingli cried out in shock. She no longer cared about fighting her opponent and quickly rushed to Bai Ziyuan's side. Bai Ziyuan groaned and spat out a mouthful of blood. His face turned pale. 3 initial celestial stage cultivators. What kind of grudge do you have against me? Bai Ziyuan's voice trembled. His eyes were filled with shame and anger. He could not understand what he had done to deserve such a calamity. Go to hell. The man charged forward. His cold and grim face was filled with murderous intent. Qingli, get out of the way. Bai Ziyuan's eyes narrowed when he noticed the man's attack. He instinctively pushed Bai Qingli away. Father! Bai Qingli's reaction speed was also extremely fast, and she immediately blocked with her sword. Even though this attack managed to block the man's attack a little, his opponent's cultivation was far higher than his. This block was only for a short moment before he was sent flying. Bang! Mo Yunjue's body was like lightning. Just as the man's sure-kill attack was about to land on Bai Ziyuan's body, he unleashed his speed to the maximum. A huge force exploded from his feet and kicked the man away. The man felt a sharp pain in his waist, and the attack deviated from its original trajectory. Bai Ziyuan originally thought that he was going to die, but after noticing that Mo Yunjue had blocked the attack, he let out a sigh of relief. He finally managed to keep his life. Bai Qingli hurried over and asked, Father, are you all right? I'm fine. Bai Ziyuan shook his head and looked at Mo Yunjue. It's all thanks to young Master Mo for saving me. City Governor Bai, you'll take care of the Radiant Sun cultivators. As for the initial celestial stage cultivators, we'll take care of them. Hearing this, Bai Ziyuan was slightly shaken. He could not help but feel a little worried. However, when he noticed that Zhongli was forcing his opponent to retreat, he understood what was going on. Then I'll have to trouble you, young Master Mo. Under these circumstances, if he hesitated, he would only make things more troublesome and become a burden. Chapter 73-95. Mo Yunjue and the other two moved like the wind, and their attacks were fierce and powerful. The originally arrogant opponent's expressions immediately changed when they realized that the three's combat strength was not inferior to theirs, and was even slightly higher than theirs. Big brother, something is wrong. Didn't they say that there is only one elementary celestial in the city governor's mansion? The man was being pushed back by Zhongli Mu. Although Zhongli Mu had not broken through to the first grade, his physical strength was extraordinary. On the other hand, the man had just stepped into the elementary celestial stage. He thought it would be a good job to besiege the city governor's mansion in the chaotic celestial realm. He thought he could make a contribution without any effort. Who would have thought that the situation would turn out like this? It was completely different from what he had expected. Even though they had only fought for a short while, his internal organs had been severely injured. If this continued, it would only be a matter of time before he was defeated. The man's face turned pale. He recalled the situation when he first came in. Apparently, Bai Ziyuan was sending the three of them away. If they had waited for the three of them to leave, everything would have gone smoothly. He regretted it now. Why was he so unlucky? The man looked at Mo Yunjue and said, "Young master, what happened just now is our fault. If you leave now, we will pretend that nothing happened. What do you think?" In his opinion, the guy in front of him was more difficult to deal with than the man who had an extremely strong physical body. Although Zhongli Mu's attacks were fierce, he could still resist for a while. However, the man's attacks were not sloppy at all. Every attack was aimed at his vital points. Although he looked casual, every attack was dangerous. If he was careless, he would lose his life. After a short while, the man's back was covered in cold sweat. He was sure that the man in front of him was extraordinary. His combat strength was amazing. Since there was no enmity between them, it was better not to become enemies. It is easier to invite the devil in than to send him away. Have you heard of this sentence? Mo Yunjue's face was cold. There was no change in his expression. His attacks were getting fiercer and fiercer. You wanted to kill us just now. Now you want to negotiate with us. Do you think we are fools? Zhongli Mu sneered. The man's face turned pale. When he was about to speak, Zhongli Mu said, "I have been wandering in the chaotic celestial realm for a long time. No one has ever escaped from me. Today all of you will die here." Arrogant. The man was angered. His attacks became fiercer. "Where are you from in the celestial realm? How dare you act so arrogantly in the chaotic celestial realm? Do you think we are from there?" He was sure that they were not from the chaotic celestial realm. As a matter of fact, cultivators in the elementary celestial stage would not stay in the realm of chaos. Once they made a breakthrough, they would head to the realm of chaos as soon as possible. Only from the celestial stage were from the celestial realm. Immortal region? Mo Yunjue's gaze became unfathomable. "You're from the immortal region?" Bai Ziyuan's expression changed when he heard this. He had never offended anyone in the immortal realm. It was too strange for the other party to appear out of nowhere. "Are you looking for the wrong people? I don't know you. Cut the crap. We're looking for you." The man attacked with all his strength. He knew that it was almost impossible for him to win easily with his strength. The only way was to fight to the death. Zhongli Mu did not plan to fight to the death. As long as he took them by surprise, he might succeed. Chapter 73-96. Noticing Bai Ziyuan's confused look, Mo Yunjue understood that he really didn't know. He immediately said, "City Lord Bai, don't worry. Once I control them, you'll be able to get the answer." "Thank you, young Master Mo." Bai Ziyuan thanked him, and his attacks became even fiercer. If he couldn't figure out who his opponent was from the immortal region, he would probably not be able to eat or sleep in peace. Bai Qingli's eyes were filled with coldness. He wasn't a match for an elementary immortal, but other than that, the others weren't his match. This time, he had Mo Yunjue and the other two's help. As for the others, he wouldn't let a single one of them go. Bang, bang, bang. The sword in Bai Qingli's hand flickered continuously, and one figure after another fell to the ground, no longer making a sound. Zhongli Mu noticed Bai Qingli's straightforward appearance, and a trace of interest appeared in his eyes. "Big brother Mo, how about we compete in speed and see who's faster?" "Why not?" Mo Yunjue said. Yi Sun chuckled. These three guys have persisted for long enough. I think the cultivators in the immortal region aren't that strong, so let's not waste time. You're courting death. Hearing the humiliation in the three's words, the three men couldn't bear it anymore, and their combat strength immediately increased by a level. However, Mo Yunjue and the other two's attacks changed. They didn't use fancy martial arts, and were all close combat skills. As the young master of the Heaven Slaughter Tower, Mo Yunjue had always been best at using the simplest methods to take people's lives. His moves were never fancy, but they were terrifyingly simple. Sparring was never suitable for him, because he would always use a killing move when he attacked. Swoosh! The sharp sword flew past, bringing with it a pillar of blood. Mo Yunjue's back was facing the man, and he calmly withdrew his sword. Bang! The man fell to the ground with a loud bang, and the sword cut his throat, and there was no more sound. You're actually the fastest again. Zhong Limu had a helpless look on his face. Almost every time he competed with Mo Yunjue in speed, he had never won. Mo Yunjue looked at the depressed Zhong Limu and said, "Remember to leave one alive. Don't let them all die. This kind of thing doesn't suit me." Zhong Limu pulled his sword out of the man's vitals and looked at Yi Sun. "Yi Sun, remember to leave him alive." Yi Sun looked at the two of them helplessly. "No way. I'm last again. Who else could it be?" Zhong Limu chuckled. "Don't forget the old rules." Understood. When Bai Ziyuan saw how Mo Yunjue and the other two dealt with their opponents in a joking manner, he couldn't help but sigh in admiration. Strength was the foundation of a cultivator. Yi Sun quickly grabbed one of them and threw him in front of Bai Ziyuan before saying, "Now, you can confess honestly. Who sent you?" Bai Ziyuan asked. The man looked at the fallen people, then looked at the few people who questioned him, and his expression became abnormally ugly. "Don't think of getting anything out of me. I won't say anything. You're really arrogant. You're already in our hands, yet you're still so arrogant. Do you really think we have no way to deal with you?" Zhong Limu took out a dagger and stabbed the man's body. "If you don't speak, I'll stab you bit by bit. Don't worry. I promise I won't take your life so easily. I've practiced this move for a long time, and I don't usually have a chance to use it. It's rare that I can use it today." Chapter 73-97. The man couldn't help but shiver when he saw Zhong Limu's excited expression. Although this guy was the youngest, he was extremely ruthless. He could decide a person's life and death with a single joke. He couldn't help but feel regret. If he had known earlier, he would have died earlier. Now, he was simply living a life worse than death. Falling into the hands of these people meant that he would be humiliated before he died. How painful was that? "We won't make things difficult for you. You just need to tell us who sent you, and we'll consider letting you live." "How about it?" said Yi Sun. The man hesitated, and his eyes were filled with suspicion. "Don't think I'm an idiot. You won't let me go. You'll have to think about that yourself." Mo Yunjue's expression was indifferent. "Although you tell us who's behind this, and they might cause trouble for you, that's in the future. But if you don't tell us, you'll be in great trouble right now. Will you really let me go if I tell you? You have no right to negotiate with me." Seeing this, the man hesitated for a moment and seemed to have made up his mind. "If you're heartless, then I won't be righteous." "Fine, I'll tell you." Everyone raised their brows. They didn't quite understand what he meant. "We came from Qing Peng Continent. Qing Devil subordinates sent us a commission." Speaking of this, anger appeared on the man's face. It's already very embarrassing that people from the immortal region came to mess things up. Who would have thought that they even gave us the wrong information and caused all of our people to die here? The men rambled on for a long time, but Mo Yunjue's expression changed when he heard the words Qing Devil. "Qing Devil?" Bai Ziyuan was confused. "I don't know Qing Devil. Are you sure you didn't get the wrong person? You're the city lord of Xi'an City." "I am." "Then there's no mistake," said the man. Bai Ziyuan was dumbfounded. He wondered if it was an enemy from a long time ago who'd gone to the immortal region after becoming strong and now sent people to deal with him. However, no matter how he thought about it, he was unable to figure out exactly what he defended. Even if he'd gone to the immortal domain, he shouldn't have changed his name, right? It was only then that Yi Sun noticed Mo Yunjue's silence. He couldn't help but ask, Yunjue, do you know something? Mo Yunjue raised his head and looked at Bai Ziyuan with a complicated expression. Governor Bai, you don't have to think about it. You don't know this person. Bai Ziyuan was stunned, but he quickly understood. Are they looking for revenge? It's our old enemy. I just didn't expect him to find us so quickly and even implicate you. Mo Yunjue had an apologetic look on his face. City Lord Bai, we've let you down. Bai Ziyuan heaved a sigh of relief, and then his expression became complicated. No wonder Child D and the others asked me about the Qing Devil when they heard about it. I didn't take it to heart and just thought they wanted to know more about it. I didn't expect them to have such a deep hatred for each other. Since the Qing Devil has found us now, won't it be dangerous in the future? Mo Yunjue hurriedly looked at the man. Have you heard about the Qing Devil and the Immortal Domain? The Immortal Domain? The man shook his head. I don't know about that. I only heard that the Qing Devil was seriously injured last time and has been in a coma ever since. Chapter 7398. Mo Yunjue frowned. He was almost certain that the Qing Devil's injury had something to do with Bailey Hongzhuang. However, since the other party did not know about the process, he naturally did not know about the current situation of Hongzhuang and the others. Brother Mo, is the Qing Devil's sister Hongzhuang's enemy? Zhongli Mu's face darkened. They are so despicable that they even wanted to harm the city lord. How shameless is this guy? Zhongli Mu's face was filled with disbelief. Not only him, but when Bai Ziyuan and the others heard this, their eyes couldn't help but be filled with confusion. Is there really someone so despicable? Mo Yunjue nodded slightly. The Qing Devil is not a kind person. I knew that he was a terrible person, but I did not expect him to be so terrible. Once upon a time, the Qing Devil was also famous in the immortal realm. I did not expect him to be such a person. He really did not live up to his reputation. Bai Ziyuan shook his head. He recalled the admiration he had when he first heard about the Qing Devil's reputation and felt that he was blind. Such a person was not worthy of anyone's admiration at all. He was a complete scumbag who did not even have the bottom line of a cultivator. Yisun also looked worried. I knew that the Qing Devil was not a good person, but from what he did, I am worried that young Master D and the others will be in danger. What should we do? Bai Qingli was very worried. Offending such a despicable guy will probably cause a lot of trouble. I only hope that young Master D and the others are fine. Mo Yunjue calmed himself down and said in a deep voice, they should be fine. He believed in Beichen's strength. Even if the Qing Devil was really strong, they should be able to escape as long as they seize the opportunity. Everyone looked at Mo Yunjue's complicated expression and understood that the situation was not very optimistic. Di Beichen and Bailey Hongzhuang had broken through to the elementary celestial realm, but the others hadn't. The Qing Devil must have done a lot of homework for her revenge. It was impossible for her to be unprepared. Once he set up an ambush, it would not be easy to leave. Yisun's gaze also changed slightly, but it did not fluctuate much. What kind of person was Di Beichen? It would not be easy for the people of the immortal realm to take his life. Young Master Mo, you don't have to worry too much. At this moment, Bai Qingli also understood if Qing Devil really killed Di Gongzi and the others, I think he doesn't need to go through so much trouble to deal with us. He should have already investigated the relationship between our City Lord's mansion and young Master D. If young Master D dies, the possibility of us taking revenge is almost zero. He doesn't have to go through all this trouble. Zhongli Mu's eyes lit up. That's right. The reason why he spent so much effort must be because he failed. Young Master Bai, you are really smart. Zhongli Mu let out a sigh of relief and couldn't help but praise. Bai Qingli smiled slightly. Young Master D and the others are all people with great fortune. I believe that they will be able to turn misfortune into blessing. Thank you for your kind words. Mo Yunjue's expression did not change. Let's wait here for a few days. If there is still no news, we will have to go to the crossing immortal realm to take a look. Okay. Mo Yunjue looked at Bai Ziyuan again. City Lord Bai, we have implicated you today. We will be responsible for all the losses caused. However, they did not succeed this time. I'm afraid they will not stop here. Chapter 73:99. As soon as these words came out, everyone's expression became extremely complicated. That's true. Zhongli Mu frowned. The people sent by the Qing devil are all experts in the immortal realm. Therefore, we can't leave this place. Otherwise, if they send more people, the city lord's mansion will be, by Ziyuan's expression, also became abnormally ugly. This was definitely not good news for him. An enemy from the immortal domain was enough to cause the city lord mansion to be annihilated, not to mention that the other party had a considerable influence in the immortal domain. This time, they were lucky. If Mo Yunjue and the others had not come, they would have been finished. Yunjue, I don't think we can leave just like this. We have to be responsible, Yi Sun said. If young Master Di and the others were here, they would have made the same decision. This happened because of them. If they chose to leave at this time, it would be tantamount to letting the entire city lord's mansion die with them. Mo Yunjue frowned. This was indeed a big problem for them. Could this be the Qing devil's purpose? In this case, they had to stay here and could not leave at all. This is indeed very troublesome. Unless we kill the Qing devil, this trouble can't be solved at all. Bai Ziyuan did not speak, but his eyes were full of hope. If they did not choose to stay, he could only think of a way to move. Staying here was tantamount to waiting for death. The Qing devil will be killed by us sooner or later. A warm and pleasant voice slowly sounded from outside the courtyard, followed by a series of footsteps. Hearing this familiar voice, Mo Yunjue and the others had a look of surprise and uncertainty on their faces. After seeing who it was, this uncertainty turned into a smile. I knew you guys were lucky. You'll be fine. Mo Yunjue's lips curled into a rare smile. His usually cold face was tinged with a trace of gentleness. You came back much faster than I expected. Of course. We can't let you down, Di Beichun said with a faint smile. Big Brother Di, you're back. That's great. Zhongli Mu was overjoyed. We were just worried about your safety. We won't lose our lives so easily. Xiren said proudly. Qing devil was seriously injured last time. It's a pity that I didn't kill him directly. However, this is only a matter of time. Sooner or later, he will die in our hands. Shangguan Yingying and the others looked at Xiren's complacent appearance and couldn't help but sigh in their hearts. This guy had completely forgotten how he looked when he was beaten up. The misery at that time was simply unbearable for them to recall. Young Master Di, it's great that you're back. City Lord Bai smiled. I didn't expect you guys to really make it to the crossing immortal domain. It's truly amazing. These were the words that came from the bottom of his heart. According to his knowledge, it was absolutely not easy to head to the celestial region. Previously, when he found out about this matter, he felt that it was impossible. However, it was obvious that the other party had made up his mind to do it, so he did not say anything. He did not expect that it would actually succeed, which was really beyond his expectations. Nowadays, the young people were much more powerful than he thought. Perhaps it should be said that Di Beichen's group had created a lot of miracles. Just like the Array Master competition, it also made people's jaws drop. Chapter 7402. Bai Qingli understood that this was for their safety. She nodded and said, I understand. After you leave, my father and I will leave the city lord's mansion for a while. We will come back when everything is settled. As the city lord of Xian City, Bai Ziyuan had built his foundation here for so many years. He could not leave this place forever and think that he was safe. Fortunately, leaving for a short time was not a problem. As a cultivator, it was normal for him to go into seclusion or train. Even if he left for a few years, there would not be any major changes. Moreover, he was so familiar with Xian City. If something really happened, someone would inform him. City Lord Bai, we are sorry for what we did to you. Di Beichen bowed and said, we will send someone back to pass on the message once we have taken care of everything. Bai Ziyuan waved his hand and said with a faint smile, it's fine. It's just a few years. It's not a big deal. You, on the other hand, must be careful when you go to the immortal region. He had thought it through. Although Di Beichen and the others caused the Qing devil incident, it had already happened. Whether he liked it or not, it was a fact that could not be changed. However, Di Beichen and the others were genius cultivators. They had successfully broken through to the elementary immortal stage in a short time after coming to the chaotic immortal realm. They might have a better future after they went to the immortal region. He believed that as long as they did not die in the immortal region, they would definitely become important figures in the future. When that time came, if he encountered a disaster, they would not leave him alone. The friendship of a group of future powerhouses was very precious. City Lord Bai and Bai Ziyuan's attitude made everyone feel much better. They were completely implicated in the entire incident. It was not easy for them to have such a forgiving attitude. This made them feel that they could not let them down. "Oh, right." Bai Ziyuan raised his eyebrows and said, "If this is the case here, will Qingyang City be affected as well?" Di Beichun had been developing in Shiyun City since he came to the Crossing Immortal Domain. However, he was quite close to the city lord of Qingyang City. Since the Qing Devil was so crazy to attack them, he might attack Qingyang City as well. "That's true." Bailey Hongzhuang's eyes flickered. "I think we still have to make a trip to Qingyang City. If there's nothing else, it's best to let them leave for the time being to lie low." Once they understood the problem, they immediately set off for Qingyang City without caring about the situation in Xi'an City. "Boss, you guys go first. I'll go check on the Immortal Treasure Pavilion." Standing outside the door, Gong Jun pondered for a moment. He still couldn't let go of the Immortal Treasure Pavilion. When he left the Immortal Treasure Pavilion, he left the Immortal Treasure Pavilion in the hands of trustworthy people. Back then, the Myriad Treasure Pavilion was suppressed by the Immortal Treasure Pavilion to the point that they couldn't raise their heads. Now that so much time had passed, he didn't know if the situation had changed. Most importantly, he felt that if even the City Lord's mansion had been attacked like this, then the Immortal Treasure Pavilion would probably be in even more trouble. Hearing this, everyone had different expressions. They looked at Gong Jun with complicated expressions. "Okay, then we'll go first. You can meet up with us when the time comes," said Di Beichen. "I'll go with Gong Jun, don't worry." Bai Ziyuan walked over. "If there really is someone there, we can escape." Chapter 7403. "Thank you, City Lord Bai." "No problem." Before leaving, when Xiren walked in front of Gong Jun and patted him on the shoulder. "Gong Jun, my condolences, scram." "Fine, I'll scram." When Xiren quickly ran out and said with a sigh, "A dog biting Lu Dongbin," not recognizing the kindness of others. "Gong Jun has really changed." "How did he change?" Zhongli Mu asked. When Xiren shrugged, "I was just comforting him. Think about it. The City Lord's mansion is already in such a state. How can the Immortal Treasure Pavilion still be around? I bet there's nothing left of it, but he still doesn't appreciate it. I bet he's still holding a grudge against me for cheating him of his cultivation resources." Bali Yin-che rolled his eyes. "You know that Gong Jun cares about the Immortal Treasure Pavilion the most, yet you still say such things to provoke him. You're lucky if you don't get beaten to death. He wants to beat me, but he's not strong enough to do so," Xiren said proudly. Di Beichun glanced at the smug when Xiren and mercilessly poured cold water on him. Gong Jun has already sensed the barrier to the elementary immortal stage. He's not far from breaking through. Cough, cough. Xiren almost choked on his own saliva. He then looked at Di Beichun in disbelief. How is this possible? He's been looking after the store every day. He doesn't have time to cultivate. Bali Yin-che stepped forward and put one hand on Xiren's arm. "Xiren, you've known Gong Jun for so long. Don't you realize that he's a genius?" "Genius? What genius?" Xiren was confused. He didn't realize it at all. Gong Jun has put most of his energy into business, but his cultivation speed hasn't lagged behind us. It was a good thing that his ambition was not to cultivate. Just like this, he was about to break through to the elementary immortal realm. If he put all his focus on cultivation, think about it. What realm would he be at now? Bali Yin-che shook his head. "Actually, I noticed it long ago. I asked him before, and he said that if he focused on cultivation, he might be stronger than Beichen now. However, he did say that he felt that it would be fine as long as he didn't hold the cultivators back. He still preferred doing business. Look at him, he's just casually practicing. Look at him, he's just casually practicing." Bailey Yinsha's words lingered in Ziren's mind like a demon's voice, lingering for a long time. He had always felt that Gong Jun was the weakest in their team, and that he had a sense of superiority in front of him. Who would have thought that it was not the case at all? Could it be that he was the weakest in the team? Bailey Hongzhuang and the others looked at Ziren, who was like a frosted eggplant, and raised their eyebrows slightly. Could it be that when Ziren was really defeated? This guy was always lively and did not seem like someone who would be defeated so easily. However, Bali Yinshe was not talking nonsense. Gong Jun was indeed about to break through. This guy did not take this to heart. The reason why he mentioned it was because Di Beichan was worried about Gong Jun's situation after he went to the immortal realm. Under such circumstances, Gong Jun mentioned that he was about to break through. If there were no accidents, he would be able to break through before he went to the immortal realm. Bali Yinshe also happened to hear this news at that time. This was indeed good news for everyone. At least in this way, their overall strength would be stronger by a level. Little Schwanzi had not broken through yet, and Little Blossom was also a level away. One more elementary immortal was of great significance. Chapter 7404. Zhongli, don't you think I'm too weak? When Ziren had a defeated look on his face. Normally, he had already suffered a terrible blow. Beichan and Hongzhuang were not humans. Their cultivation speed was not something ordinary people could compare to. He had long since given up on the idea of competing with them. As for Yinshe and Ling, one of them was a beast king and the other was a dragon. Naturally, their cultivation talent was not to be underestimated. According to Beichan, Yinshe and Ling, cultivation speed would be even faster after breaking through to the elementary celestial stage. This was because the Beast Clan had a greater advantage in tempering their bodies. These guys couldn't compare. He didn't want to compare at all. But now even Gong Jun was stronger than him. How could he still live like this? It's all right. Zhongli Mu thought for a moment and said, actually, it's because we're all geniuses. Think about it. I was much stronger than Beichan. In the end, they broke through to the elementary celestial stage, but I haven't. Only then did Ziren feel a little relieved. Indeed, these were not normal people and could not be compared to him. Then what is your cultivation level now? I broke through to the elementary celestial stage a while ago. F***CK. That hurts. Ziren left Zhongli Mu. This guy is so young, but he has broken through to the elementary celestial stage. What a beast. Back then, he didn't know who had told him that the elementary celestial stage was an insurmountable hurdle for cultivators. If one wanted to break through, it would take at least a decade or a few decades. It was simply impossible. However, how long had it been since they came to the chaotic celestial realm? 1, 2, 3, 4. All of them had broken through. He looked at Mo Yunjue. There was no need to say anything. This guy was only second to Beichan. Ying, Shangwan Ying did not mock Ziren. She only said, don't worry. You'll break through soon. I know my wife loves me the most. Ziren was touched. Qingyang City. When Yang Han saw that Di Beichan and his group had returned, a look of pleasant surprise appeared on his face. Young Master Di, you are back? Did your trip go well? Di Beichan nodded. Not bad. You guys really went to the crossing celestial domain. How admirable. City Lord Yang, we came here today to discuss something with you. Di Beichan went straight to the point. Seeing Yang Han, he understood that the Qing Devil City hadn't discovered the situation in the mansion of the governor of Shiyin City. However, he couldn't be sure whether the Qing Devil's men didn't intend to attack this place or they were too slow to come here. No matter what, it was best to be prepared early. Yang Han noticed the serious look on Di Beichan's face and understood that he really had something important to discuss with him. He immediately said, please come in. Let's talk inside. They walked into the mansion of the governor, and Yang Han sent someone to inform Yang Qinxue and Yang Lingfeng. After entering the courtyard, Di Beichan told Yang Han everything that had happened. Yang Han immediately understood. So, you came here to inform me to leave the mansion of the governor to lie low? Di Beichan nodded. Uncle Yang, my father also has the same plan. The enemy sent more than one master of the elementary celestial stage. Once we encounter them, the mansion of the governor will be destroyed. For safety's sake, it's better to leave first. Yang Han's expression was very complicated. He had stayed in the mansion of the governor for so many years and had never left like this. Chapter 74:05. How long will I be away? Yang Han had mixed feelings. He kept thinking about the recent events in the city lord's mansion. Even if he had to leave, he had to at least deal with the matters at hand. Not too long. Di Bei-chan said in a deep voice, "We'll go to the celestial realm soon. According to our plan, we'll first deceive Qing Devil and the others. If we succeed, the crisis will be resolved. We'll inform you as soon as possible." Yang Han also understood that he was no match for a few experts in the elementary celestial realm. In such a situation, he had no other choice. "I understand," Yang Han said. "City Lord Yang, I'm really sorry." Di Bei-chun cupped his hands. His deep eyes were suffused with a faint cold light. He had not let down many people in his life, but because of Qing Devil and Xiao So, he had let down so many people. When he reached the celestial realm, he would not let these two people go. Yang Han waved his hand. "Young Master Di, you've helped us a lot. This is nothing. You don't have to take it to heart." Everyone looked at Yang Han with some doubts. Di Bei-chin and the others had not done anything other than winning glory for Qingyang City in the Array Master Competition. Yang Han smiled. "My biggest wish in this life is for Qin Shiyue and Ling Feng to break through to the elementary celestial realm. With their cultivation speed, although I've always had expectations, I understand that the chances are not high. If Ms. Bailey had not cured Ling Feng and intentionally promoted them during their training, how could Ling Feng have broken through to the elementary celestial realm? My biggest wish has been realized. What's the big deal about leaving the city lord's mansion temporarily? Even if I'm not the city lord, I won't have any regrets. Ling Feng has broken through to the elementary celestial realm." Bailey Hongzhuang was delighted. This guy had been looking forward to breaking through as soon as possible. When he was with Fox and the others, Yang Ling Feng had collected a lot of fruits. It seemed that his cultivation talent was not bad. He had successfully broken through. "Of course, I'm also a first-class genius." Yang Ling Feng arrived late. When he heard Bailey Hongzhuang ask about him, he immediately answered proudly. Bailey Hongzhuang turned around and felt Yang Ling Feng's aura. As expected, he had broken through to the elementary celestial realm. "Then I must congratulate you." Yang Ling Feng smiled faintly. "Compared to you guys, my speed is extremely slow. However, I know my limits. I'm already satisfied with my progress." Now, he was no longer as confused as he was at the beginning. Before, he only felt that he had to constantly become stronger for the sake of his father's expectations. It was Di Bei-chun who made him understand his own heart. "What's the matter?" Bailey Hongzhuang smiled. "Are you about to break through?" Yang Qinxue lowered her head, a little embarrassed. "My cultivation talent is not as good as Ling Feng's. Although I've been cultivating nonstop, I haven't broken through yet. It's only a matter of time." Bailey Hongzhuang comforted. She observed Yang Qinxue's aura. It was much stronger than when she had left. She thought that she would break through soon. "Sister, you don't have to worry. Once Qingli breaks through, what are you afraid of?" Yang Ling Feng looked at Bai Qingli. "Don't think that I don't know. Sister has given you a lot of fruits. If you don't treat my sister well in the future, I won't let you off." Bookmark for easier reading. Chapter 74:06. Looking at Yang Ling Feng, who looked like he was about to eat someone, Bai Qingli faintly smiled. His handsome face was tinged with gentleness. "Don't worry, I will treat Qin Shiyue well. He has always been a slow person when it comes to relationships. All these years, he has focused all his energy on cultivation. However, he knows that Qin Shiyue has always wanted the best for him. Perhaps he didn't understand this in the past, but now he understands, especially after seeing the relationship between Di Bei-chin and Bailey Hongzhuang. He understands that cultivators don't just focus on cultivation. There should also be some changes in his path." Yang Qinshue's cheeks blushed. Her beautiful eyes were filled with gratitude. She looked at Bai Qingli gently, her face full of joy. She has liked Bai Qingli for many years. All these years, she has never been confident in herself. As for the matchmaking between their parents, she has known for a long time. Although Bai Qingli has never rejected her, he has never expressed his love for her. Therefore, she has always been worried. She carefully handled their relationship, afraid that something unexpected would happen and break the balance. She was also afraid that another woman would appear and steal Bai Qingli's heart. Luckily, none of these things happened. She could feel that Bai Qingli's attitude towards her has been changing. This brought her more joy than the improvement in her cultivation level. Lovers finally get married. This is what everyone wants to see. We will be going to the immortal region soon. I'm afraid we won't be able to attend your wedding. However, I still have to give you my blessings. Di Beichen took out some devouring spirit stones and placed them on the table. I wish you both a long life together. Seeing the devouring spirit stones Di Beichen took out, Bai Qingli and the others were stunned. After confirming that these were indeed devouring spirit stones, their expressions changed. They quickly said, Beichen, we can't accept these. The devouring spirit stone is, without a doubt, a first-rate treasure to cultivators. There are many treasures that can increase one's cultivation level. However, treasures that can increase one's spiritual energy are very rare. The devouring spirit stone is one of them. In the immortal region of chaos, it is not easy to obtain a devouring spirit stone. You're welcome. Di Beichen did not intend to take it back. You should know that it would be much easier to obtain the spirit-devouring stone from the crossing immortal domain. Even so, we can't accept it. Yang Han spoke up. He knew that there were many spirit-devouring ores in the crossing immortal domain, but did not mean that the spirit-devouring ores were easy to obtain. On the contrary, the situation in the crossing immortal realm was even worse than the chaotic immortal realm. It was definitely not easy to obtain the spirit-devouring stone. This incident was caused by us, and we can't let it go. If you accept it, we'll feel better. That's right. Take it as a way to make us feel at ease. Just accept it. Yang Lingfeng looked at his father's conflicted expression and couldn't help but say, since Beichen said so, just accept it. The spirit-devouring stone is indeed very difficult for us, but for geniuses like them, it's probably not that difficult to obtain. Maybe after they make a trip to the immortal domain, they won't even be interested in the spirit-devouring stone. Yang Han glanced at Yang Lingfeng. This kid, he really dares to say that. The spirit-devouring stone could increase one's spiritual energy. Even in the immortal domain, it was still very useful. However, he also understood that for geniuses like Beichen and the others, their means of accumulating wealth were not something they could compare to. Chapter 7407. Thank you very much. Bai Qingli cupped his hands. He knew that Di Beichen was not a hypocritical person. Since he had taken out this thing, he had no intention of taking it back. If he refused again and again, it would make him seem pretentious. Di Beichen and the others were relieved when they saw Bai Qingli's subordinates. Regardless of whether the other party really did not care, the Malachian fiend's matter had indeed affected them greatly. Even their wedding might have to be postponed for some time. If they did not do something to make up for it, they would not be able to live with themselves. Are you planning to go to the immortal region now? Yang Lingfeng had also learned about the situation. A trace of hesitation appeared in his eyes. He had also broken through to the elementary celestial stage. In fact, he had always wanted to go to the immortal region. However, looking at Di Beichen and the others, he was afraid that they were going to do something important this time. Would he be a burden if he followed them? That's right. Di Beichen nodded. Our original goal had always been the immortal region. However, our cultivation level was not high enough, so we have been staying in the realm of chaos. Although our cultivation level is still not high enough, this matter has forced us to set off immediately. I wonder if I can go with you? Yang Lingfeng asked after thinking about it for a while. After all, it was not safe for him to go to the immortal region alone. Moreover, he did not know enough about the situation in the immortal region. If he went alone, it was very likely that he would be killed halfway. At least it would be safer for him to go with them. Hearing this, Di Beichen was not surprised. There is a high possibility that we will be targeted by the Qing Devil. You should know the Qing Devil's strength in the Qing Peng continent. You are in the realm of chaos. You are only slightly related to us, and he wants to kill you. If you go with us, you will not be able to get rid of the label once you are discovered. This is not a big deal. Yang Lingfeng waved his hand. Clearly, he did not take this matter to heart. I don't actually care about this. Regardless of whether I go or not, Azure Demon wants to kill me. Who knows, I might have a chance to kill him if I go. A cold light flashed in Yang Lingfeng's eyes. He hadn't said anything about this matter, but that didn't mean that he wasn't angry. The other party planned to bury their entire family just because of a little bit of connection. If they really met, it would be a blood feud. You're ambitious, Xiren praised. If you want to go, we can go together. However, we don't know enough about the situation in the immortal realms. It's hard to say what will happen after we go. You have to be mentally prepared. Bailey Hongzhuang analyzed their current situation. Although the cultivator under their control seemed to be telling the truth, they weren't sure if he was telling the truth. The other party knew that they wouldn't kill him now, so it was inevitable that he would have other thoughts. He might even want to use this opportunity to cheat them. Therefore, there were too many uncertainties in the immortal realms. No one knew what would happen after they went there. I understand. Yang Lingfeng nodded slightly. No matter where they went, there would be danger. He felt that it would be safer to go with them. In his heart, Di Beichen and Wen Xinyao were like gods. No matter how bad the situation was, it would be much easier for them. Chapter 7409. The chaotic immortal realm is huge, right? However, compared to the celestial realm, the realm of chaotic immortal was much smaller. One continent in the immortal realm is as big as the entire chaotic immortal realm. As soon as these words came out, the faces of Bailey Hongzhuang and the others all changed, and there was a deep shock on their faces. One continent is as big as the entire chaotic immortal realm. Although they hadn't stayed in the chaotic immortal realm for long, and they hadn't been to many cities, they knew that the chaotic immortal realm was huge. The journey to the chaotic immortal realm was very long. They expected the immortal realm to be big, but they didn't expect it to be so much bigger than they thought. I heard that. Maybe it's more than that. Isn't it a little too big? Yang Lingfeng couldn't believe it. Is the chaotic immortal realm so different from the chaotic immortal realm? The lifespan of the experts in the immortal realm is much longer than the cultivators below the Radiant Sun stage. Think about it. The cultivators in the chaotic immortal realm haven't ascended yet, but the cultivators in the immortal realm have ascended successfully. The chaotic immortal realm is also huge. There are so many planes and so many experts. Even if the speed of ascension isn't fast, the number of people who have ascended after so many years is still very shocking. Yang Han sighed and shook his head. The immortal realm is much bigger than you think. The water is also much deeper. At this moment, Bailey Hongzhuang and the others didn't have any doubts. The chaotic immortal realm was huge, so they could imagine the situation. Moreover, with their current cultivation bases, they would be at the bottom if they went to the immortal realm. The gap between them and the chaotic immortal realm was too big. As the city lord of Qingyang City, I know a little more about the chaotic immortal realm. Look, the chaotic immortal realm is so big, and the cultivation resources are very abundant. However, the immortal realm doesn't have much control over the chaotic immortal realm because they don't care about it. Don't care about it. Yang Lingfeng's lips twitched. He had always thought that the chaotic immortal realm was a good place. There were many powerful cultivators there. Although the cultivation resources were hard to come by, as the son of the city lord, he was treated much better than ordinary cultivators. Who would have thought that? Don't care about it. This was too heart-wrenching. Di Beichen asked, City Lord Yang, we've always been curious. Does the city lord of the chaotic immortal realm have anything to do with the immortal realm? Yang Han nodded slightly and said, we do have some connections, but it's just a simple connection. We city lords are only responsible for preventing the chaotic immortal realm from falling into chaos. Other than that, there's no big deal. The immortal domain doesn't have too many restrictions on us. They just give us some resources every 20 years. These resources are very abundant in our eyes. But according to my understanding, these resources are really nothing to the cultivators of the immortal region. As he spoke, He looked at Yang Lingfeng again. This is also the reason why I've always hoped that Lingfeng and Qin Shue would be able to break through to the elementary celestial stage. After they go to the celestial domain, the situation will be completely different. With enough cultivation resources, breakthroughs would be faster and lifespans would be longer. With the heaven and earth yuan qi of the celestial realm, as long as one didn't die and spent a little more effort, one's strength would also improve greatly. That's something the realm of chaotic immortal can't compare with. Everyone understood. With such a big gap, they naturally wouldn't stay in the chaotic immortal realm if they went to the immortal realm. Perhaps they couldn't feel it from the outside, but after they went in, they would understand how big the gap was. End of chapter. Chapter 74:10. There are 13 continents in the immortal realm. The major forces in the 9 continents are complicated and have existed for a long time. It's very difficult for newcomers to gain a foothold here. It's very difficult for them to develop well. Even if they are recruited by some forces, they can only do the most basic things. They don't have many cultivation resources, but they can do a lot of things. Therefore, most of the cultivators in the 9 continents are from the major forces. Although most of the cultivators in the immortal realm are in the elementary, celestial realm, there are still some who haven't broken through. The children of the cultivators in the elementary celestial realm are also raised in the immortal realm. These children are different from ordinary people from the moment they are born. In the immortal realm, their cultivation speed is much faster than in the outside world. Not to mention, they have countless resources to cultivate. Therefore, when you go to the chaotic immortal realm, if you meet such people, you must not underestimate them. No one knows what kind of patriarch is behind these young people. Bailey Hongzhuang nodded slightly. The parents of the children born in the immortal realm must be experts, especially in the 9 continents. Maybe a child that doesn't seem to be a threat has a huge force behind him. The Cyan Pendulum Continent, where the Qing Devil is from, is one of the 9 continents. The Cyan Pendulum Continent covers a large area. Naturally, the Qing Devil's family is not the only one. In fact, the foundation of the Qing Devil is much weaker than those long-established forces. Do you know that the Qing Devil has a master? You mean Qing Ling? Di Beichun raised his eyebrows. It seemed that Yang Han not only knew about the Qing Devil, but also Qing Ling. Yang Han nodded. Qing Ling is also a God-favored child. He became famous much earlier than the Qing Devil. When he was young, he went to the Cyan Pendulum Continent and killed his way out. In the Cyan Pendulum Continent, which was almost divided by the major forces, he established his own territory. At that time, the news gave many cultivators in the chaotic immortal realm hope. All the cultivators in the chaotic immortal realm wanted to go to the immortal realm. However, those who had been there knew that it was not easy to establish a foothold there without a certain background. Back then, I went to the other 4 continents and made a name for myself before I went to the Azure Continent. Yang Han paused for a moment before continuing. Actually, I've also heard some inside information. The reason why Qing Ling was able to proceed so smoothly back then was because of the help of an expert from the Devouring Pavilion. At that time, the younger sister of that expert married Qing Ling. However, I haven't heard anything about it since then. City Lord Yang, you even know about this? Bailey Hongzhuang was in disbelief. Have you been to the immortal domain? It's just that I'm very interested in these things, so I asked around a lot. Yang Han chuckled. His eyes were a little empty, as if he was thinking about the past. I used to have great ambitions. I wanted to make a name for myself in the celestial realm. Unfortunately, I'm still in the realm of chaos. The reason why I know so much is that my status as the city lord has brought me a lot of benefits. I know more information than the others in the chaotic immortal realm. As for the Qing Devil, he's also very capable. However, he's still not as good as Qing Ling. If he didn't have Qing Ling as his master, he wouldn't have been able to progress so smoothly. However, this is also his opportunity. Chapter 74:11. I'm telling you this because I want to remind you not only to be careful of Qing Devil, but also Qing Ling. If you're careless, you'll be in danger. Yang Han looked serious. In his opinion, even though Di Beichun and the others were all geniuses, they were still far from being able to compete with Qing Devil. It would be worse if they underestimated Qing Ling. He wanted to remind them so that they would know what to do. At least, they shouldn't make a move before they had a certain amount of confidence. Don't worry, Governor Yang. We cherish our lives. Although we're worried about Qing Devil, we won't act rashly before we have a certain amount of confidence. Di Beichun understood Yang Han's intention. That's good. Father, you mentioned the 9 provinces. What about the other 4 provinces? Yang Lingfeng asked. Are the other 4 provinces different from the 9 provinces? That's right. Yang Han nodded. The other 4 provinces are different from the 9 provinces. Usually, cultivators in the realm of chaotic immortals will choose to go to these 4 provinces after they break through, because the 4 provinces are mainly inhabited by schools and sections. You should know that schools and sects are mainly used to nurture cultivators. When cultivators can be independent, they will consider going to the other 9 provinces. I suggest that you go to these 4 provinces first. They are the Yunyang continent, the Wanli continent, the Hualien continent, and the Tianqing continent. These 4 provinces are safer than the other 9 provinces, but that's only relative. Don't be careless because of that. The realm of chaotic immortals is much more dangerous than the realm of chaotic immortals. Which province does the abandoned immortal forest correspond to? Bailey Hongzhuang asked. The abandoned immortal forest corresponds to... Let me think. It should be the Tianqing continent, Yang Han said, thoughtfully. Bailey Hongzhuang narrowed her eyes. Just as she expected, when she was in the abandoned immortal forest, she saw sections. Now that she thought about it, she was lucky that she didn't encounter the 9 provinces. Otherwise, the situation would be much more complicated. There are many schools and sects in the Tianqing continent, but not everyone can join them. Those who were able to cultivate to the initial celestial realm were practically all geniuses. However, only after going there would one realize the disparity between geniuses. Many people don't even have the qualifications to join. I've only heard of some things, but I don't know much about it. You have to be mentally prepared. As he spoke, Yang Han looked at Yang Lingfeng. Don't be discouraged just because others are so much stronger. Yang Lingfeng's face darkened. Father, am I such a person in your heart? Yang Qinxue couldn't help but laugh. That's the kind of person you are. Yang Han did not explain. He only said seriously, a martial artist's heart should also be strong enough. Yang Lingfeng. She didn't even want to explain. What I know is what I know in the past. As for more information, you should understand it after you go to the immortal region. Yang Han spoke slowly, then looked at Di Beichun and the rest. When you go out, you have to be more careful. Some words may not be true. Seeing that Yang Lingfeng really treated them as his juniors and was seriously warning them, Di Beichun also bowed. Thank you, Uncle Yang, for your guidance. Yang Han's gaze became even more benevolent. I don't know when I'll return from this trip. I only hope that you'll all be safe. Father, don't worry. Once I've settled down, I'll frequently send news back. Chapter 74:12. Yang Han smiled faintly. He knew that it would not be easy to settle down in the immortal realm. It would be even more difficult to spread the news. The immortal realm was too vast. It would take a long time to go back and forth, unless one made a fortune there and could send someone to spread the news. He knew his son very well. He had always believed in Yang Lingfeng's strength. However, it was never easy to show off in a place where geniuses gathered. He believed that as long as he could live safely, it would be much better than staying in the realm of chaotic immortal. When the time comes, I will bring all of you over, Yang Lingfeng said with a smile. Okay. Yang Han nodded with a smile. Then I will wait for your good news. After Yang Han's introduction, everyone had a general understanding of the immortal realm. They also had a certain direction in their hearts. Obviously, the 9 continents were not suitable for them. The 4 continents were their only choice. However, they still had to think about which continent to go to. In my opinion, we should go to the Qing Peng continent first and fool them about the Qing Devil. After making sure that the city lord and the others are not in danger, we will set off to the other continents. What do you think? Bailey Hongzhuang looked at everyone. I'm afraid it will take a lot of time to go back and forth. However, we have no other choice. They could go to the 4 continents directly. However, they would not be at ease if they did not solve the problem. It would just take some time. Is no big deal. Zhong Limu waved his hand. Coincidentally, there are many things that we do not know about the immortal realm. We can learn more about it on the way. Mo Yunjue agreed. Maybe we will have some unexpected gains on the way. Everyone nodded in agreement. The path of cultivation had always been unpredictable, and anything could happen. In the evening, everyone saw Gong Jun, who had just returned. Xiren looked at Gong Jun's disappointed face and could not help but shake his head. See, I told him to be mentally prepared. Gong Jun, are you okay? Shangguan Yingying asked carefully. Wah. Gong Jun's face fell instantly. He looked heartbroken. Those guys are too inhumane. Not only did they smash my immortal treasure pavilion, but they also stole everything in my shop. This is a blood feud. Yang Lingfeng and the others had seen Gong Jun before. At this moment, when they saw him looking as if his parents had died, they were a little panicked and didn't know how to comfort him. However, after hearing the latter part of his words, they were suddenly speechless. Boss, you have to take revenge for me. These guys are simply beasts. Gong Jun said with tears and snot running down his face. When the time comes, I'll make them pay you back double. Okay. Gong Jun nodded. This time I really lost a lot. It wasn't easy for me to open the immortal treasure pavilion to such a large scale, and I almost snatched all the business in Xi'an City. Now it's all gone. Fortunately, I saw that everyone in the city was sad about this matter, so I felt much better. Speaking of this, he showed a gratified expression. The fact that a shop could be opened to such a degree was a great comfort to him. It is obvious that you're lying. I think the shopkeeper of the immortal treasure pavilion must be very happy, right? Xiren said. Gong Jun glared at him. That guy was indeed very happy. However, when he heard what I said, he became unhappy. Chapter 74:13. What did you say? When Xiren asked curiously. I said that I don't care about the shops in the chaotic immortal realm anymore. I plan to open a shop in the immortal realm. Deep Beichen, everyone, when Xiren, he believed you. Of course. I showed him my aura, haha. Gong Jun had a smug expression. That guy has no hope of entering the immortal realm. When the time comes, I'll be like a fish in water in the immortal realm. Who the hell is he? He's just a passerby in my life. Hearing this, everyone sighed. What he said made so much sense that they couldn't refute it. Maybe when the time comes, the entire Myriad Treasures Pavilion will be mine. He'll become my subordinate. Gong Jun said proudly. It was as if he had already set up his beautiful life in the immortal realm. Gong Jun, I always thought that my imagination was quite rich. I didn't think that you'd be even more awesome than me. Gong Jun glanced at Xiren. He was a little confused. Was this guy praising him or scolding him? Of course. You have to have courage. If you don't have courage, how can you be successful? Don't think that what I'm saying now is unrealistic. Who would have thought that the Immortal Treasure Pavilion could defeat the Myriad Treasures Pavilion branch in the Immortal Realm? Anything is possible. Gong Jun patted Xiren's chest with a look that said, Brother, you still have much to learn in this field. It's rare that I find you pleasing to the eye today. Let me tell you. Gong Jun lowered his voice. Do you know why you can't compare to Boss and the others? Xiren was slightly taken aback. You know? Of course I know. Gong Jun raised his eyebrows. Look at this group of people. Are you the only one who thinks that you can't compare to them? Xiren fell silent. Although he didn't say this out loud, that was indeed what he thought in his heart. Isn't that enough? If you think you can't compare to them, then you definitely can't compare to them. Look at the others. They all know how strong Boss's talent is. Has he ever admitted defeat to them? It's because I didn't recognize it that I was able to improve so much. If I had recognized it from the beginning, would I still be here? Gong Jun looked at Xiren. Look at you, this is the biggest problem. Xiren was stunned. What Gong Jun said did seem to make some sense. Back then, he had cultivated with Bei Chun with the intention of competing with him. His cultivation level had not fallen behind by much. However, ever since he realized where the gap was, his cultivation level had fallen behind. Could it be that this was the source of the problem? Bailey Hongzhuang and the others also had strange expressions on their faces. Although Gong Jun had lowered his voice, everyone present had sharp ears and eyes, so they heard his words clearly. Even an idiot would know that Gong Jun was tricking Xiren. Looking at Xiren's expression, It seemed like he believed it. Zhongli Mu's lips twitched. Brother Wen, how big of a blow did you suffer recently? Everyone, when Xiren thought about it, and felt that something was wrong. What about you? Haven't you always been hugging Beichen's thigh? Gong Jun looked at him with disdain. We're different. I'm a genius. Damn, you're really shameless. When Xiren also understood that this guy was just teasing him. Luckily, I'm smart. Otherwise, I would have fallen for it. As he said that, he turned his gaze back. Only then did he notice that everyone was looking at him strangely. Why are you all looking at me like that? Chapter 74:14. After everyone had made all the necessary preparations, they embarked on the journey to the immortal domain. At the same time, they learned the name of the cultivator, Wang Chongyan. Actually, you don't have to go through so much trouble. I just need to go back and tell the Qing devil that everything has been solved. Why do I find it so hard to believe your words? Xiren sneered. It's true, the man emphasized. In fact, those people and I just formed a temporary team. We don't have a deep friendship. It doesn't matter if they die. I can go back and report this news. I can even take all the rewards. However, no matter what Wang Chongyan said, Bailey Hongzhuang and the others ignored him. This guy must be saying this now. But with the power of the Qing devil, he didn't have to take the risk of lying when he went back. He could just tell them the truth. Therefore, they wouldn't believe him at all. Seeing that the others were unmoved, Wang Chongyun was a little annoyed. If I really want to tell them, I can also tell them when the time comes. When the time comes, we will go with you. If you tell us, we will drag you down with us. Deep Beichen's eyes darkened, and his handsome face showed a touch of sternness. Don't blame me for not reminding you. If we fail, you won't be able to get away with it. From this incident, you can already see the character of the Qing devil. He won't let you go just because you brought us there. What's more, if we all die, your poison will never be cured. If you don't believe me, you could try it when you go back. Bailey Hongzhuang's eyes were full of confidence. The man's strength was not strong at all in the immortal realm. From the fact that he accepted this mission, it could be seen that he was at the bottom of the list. Even if the force he was in really had a way to cure the poison, the medicinal materials needed to cure the poison were not cheap. The other party might not spend so much effort on him. The man fell into silence. Countless thoughts flashed through his mind. He also knew that Deep Beichin and the others were telling the truth. However, once the truth came out, he would be finished. Everyone ignored the man. As long as he wasn't an idiot, he would know what to choose. If we want to go to the celestial region, we have to go through a test to confirm that we have indeed reached the elementary celestial stage before we can enter, Yang Lingfeng said. His father had already told him about this matter. After passing through this transfer array, we will be able to reach the entrance of the immortal domain. It's really convenient to have a teleportation formation. Otherwise, it would take a lot of time to get to the nearest intersection in the western regions. Gong Jun was obviously very happy. I've long wanted to see what the celestial realm is like. Right? Gong Jun is yet to break through to the elementary celestial stage. Can he go to the celestial region? Yi Sun asked. My father said that it's not possible under normal circumstances, but this guy is from Boizhou. With the token, we can still follow him in. However, in this way, Gong Jun won't have an identity card. In the future, he will still need to pass an examination. It's better for us to get an identity card directly. Everyone nodded slightly. Fortunately, they still had this fellow with them. By the way, aren't Xiren and the others going this time? Yang Lingfeng couldn't help but ask. They're not going. Their cultivation hasn't reached the boundary of a breakthrough. It will be very dangerous if they go in. That's really a pity. It'll be more lively if everyone goes together. Yang Lingfeng looked regretful. It's no problem. When they break through, they will naturally come to find us, Bailey Hongzhuang said with a faint smile. Chapter 74:15. Near Celestial Sect, Bailey Hongzhuang and the others looked at the magnificent gate in front of them, and their eyes flashed with a complicated color. When we were captured and brought to this place, we couldn't pass through this door openly. I can't believe we can go in now. Zhongli Mu sighed. During this period of time, his improvement was much faster than when he was in the abandoned immortal forest. This is just the minimum standard. The next time we come out, We will be much stronger than now, Imo Yunjua said. Zhong Limu nodded. He believed that. They had improved so much in 2 years. If they stayed in the celestial realm for a while, their strength would definitely improve. Stop. When the group reached the gate, the man guarding the gate stopped them. Identity card. Wang Chongyan took out his identity card. When the guard saw the totem on it, a hint of surprise appeared in his eyes. He said, "Please come in." Gong Jun had been following closely at Wang Chongyun's side. When he saw Wang Chongyun enter, he also followed. Fortunately, no one stopped him. "What about you?" "Brother, we just broke through to the beginner immortal realm," Di Beichun said. Hearing that, the guard looked at Di Beichun without any change in his expression. "If you're not a member of the force, you can't bring others in." "I understand." "You understand?" The guard frowned and looked at the large group of people in front of him with a strange expression. "We are all in the beginner immortal realm," Yang Lingfeng said. The two guards were stunned. It was not easy to break through to the beginner immortal realm in the chaotic celestial realm. Usually, they might not even see one person in half a month. There were 8 people in front of them, and all of them had broken through to the beginner immortal realm. Since when was it so easy to break through to the beginner immortal realm? Beginner immortal realm cultivators have to take a test when entering the celestial realm for the first time. At the same time, leave your identity information. Go to the house over there. The guard pointed to a place not far away. In the end, he couldn't help but remind them, this test requires the payment of blood spiritual stones. If your cultivation is not enough, I advise you not to try. Thank you for your reminder, big brother. We understand. Di Beichun cupped his hands and smiled. When a man saw that they didn't seem to have changed their minds, he immediately shook his head. Every year, there would always be a few people who wanted to bluff their way through, but how could the immortal domain's examination be so easy to bluff their way through? The 8 of us taking the test at the same time is indeed a little too eye-catching, Yi Sun said. That guard clearly doesn't trust us. So what? Yang Lingfeng laughed heartily. When the results are out, he'll have to believe it even if he doesn't want to. The test wasn't complicated. One only needed to display one's cultivation base and be judged by the device. The person in charge of the assessment was originally dozing off. When he suddenly saw a large group of people enter, he was somewhat unable to react. After learning that everyone was going to take the assessment, he was even more astonished. However, when he confirmed that all of them were in the elementary celestial stage, his expression became extremely strange. Could it be that the few of you are the disciples of some big family who came out to train? The man lowered his voice and said mysteriously, I've heard before that some forces would send their disciples to the chaotic celestial realm to train. They would only return after breaking through to the beginner immortal realm. I believe the few of you should be one of them, right? Di Beichun was just about to deny it when he heard the man say, Don't worry, I won't tell anyone about this. Chapter 74:16. May I know which continent you're from? I understand. It's only right that you don't tell me. Everyone felt a little helpless as they watched the man come up with a series of scenarios in his mind. Actually, it wasn't like that at all. However, they didn't bother to explain. This guy had obviously assumed everything. Even if they tried to explain, it would be useless. They might as well just stay silent. After all, they might not see this person again in the future. Seeing that everyone was silent, the man took it as a tacit agreement. His attitude immediately became more attentive, and even the speed of the examination became faster. When the guard saw that the man had personally escorted the 8 people over, his eyes were filled with shock. Steward, what are you doing? Quickly take care of these young masters and young ladies. The steward was all smiles. Do you need my help? Yang Lingfeng looked at the unusually friendly steward and couldn't help but ask, Can you lend me some blood spirit stones? How about we don't charge for this assessment? Before he left, his father had given him a lot of blood spirit stones, but just now, he had spent 10 blood spirit stones. One had to know that blood spirit stones were not ordinary spirit stones. Even his father, the city lord, didn't have many blood spirit stones. Now, he had spent 10 high-grade blood spirit stones just to apply for an identity card. This was daylight robbery. As soon as these words came out, Bailey Hongzhuang and the others looked at Yang Lingfeng strangely. Could it be that this guy had directly said what he was thinking? No need, thank you. Di Beichun cupped his hands and didn't look embarrassed at all. It was as if Yang Lingfeng hadn't said anything at all. The guard looked at everyone in disbelief. He had been waiting for these people to come out and laugh at him, but he didn't expect it to be true. He couldn't help but be shocked. Could it be that these people had experienced some kind of mystic realm, so they all broke through? The steward also reacted and hurriedly said, "Where are the blood spirit stones? Quickly hand them over." "They're all here." The guard didn't dare to delay, even though he didn't understand what was wrong with the steward, who always regarded wealth as his life today. "Young Master D, these fellows are new and don't know any better. Here are your blood spirit stones," the manager said with a smile. Yang Lingfeng was dumbfounded. He was just joking. He didn't think that there was such a possibility. But now, the other party had directly delivered the blood spirit stone to him. What was going on? "You're too polite. This is what we should pay." No. The steward waved his hand. "Ordinary people naturally have to pay. But how can you all be ordinary? It's my honor to be able to assess you all." Di Beichun originally wanted to exchange a few pleasantries, but he didn't expect the other party to be so determined to return the blood spirit stone to him. This rejection hurt their relationship even more, so he simply accepted it. "Thank you very much. It's my duty. Young Master D, you don't have to be so polite." The steward's face was full of smiles, as if Di Beichun's acceptance of the blood spirit stone was something worth celebrating. Then, Bailey Hongzhuang and the others officially stepped into the celestial region under the steward's warm escort. When the figures disappeared, the guard couldn't help but ask, "Steward, what's going on?" Even if they broke through to the elementary celestial stage, you don't have to be so polite, right? What do you know? The smile on the man's face disappeared. How can there be so many elementary celestials? Also, I observed that a few of them are very young. They're definitely not more than 50 years old. Some are even in their 20s or 30s. Chapter 74:17. Less than 50 years old. The guard was stunned. A novice celestial in his 20s or 30s. It's not easy for such a talent to appear. Moreover, it's in such a large group. Who else can do it except for those factions? The guard was shocked. With such talent, he was like a dragon or phoenix among men. There were many differences between novice celestials. A 20-year-old novice celestial and a 100-year-old novice celestial couldn't be compared at all. Moreover, in the realm of chaos, there were many people who hadn't broken through at the age of a few hundred. You should be more observant in the future. Although such a genius might not have any interaction with us, it's still good to leave a good impression. Thank you for your advice. I understand. The guard looked enlightened. Bailey Hongzhuang and the others looked at the blood spirit stones in their hands with strange expressions. What's going on? Does that guy really think we're from a big faction? He doesn't even want blood spirit stones? Yang Lingfeng couldn't believe it. Even if the blood spirit stones in his hands were real, why did he feel like he was dreaming? 8 people. That would be 80 blood spirit stones. That was not a small sum. I feel like we found a way to make money. I wonder if people in other places are so easy to trick? Gong Jun looked excited. When he found out about the price, he had been cursing these guys for being greedy. He hadn't expected such a reversal. Anyway, it won't matter if we pretend. I think we should just pretend to be from a big faction. It'll save us a lot of trouble. Yang Lingfeng agreed. He didn't have as many blood spirit stones as Wei Chengcheng and the others. If they came from a small family, they might be poor before they reached Qing Peng continent. It would be best if they could save some blood spirit stones. Wang Chongyin was speechless when he saw that everyone seemed to be taking this matter to heart. Is this something you can pretend to be? If you don't have the ability and confidence, you can't pretend. Do you think everyone is as stupid as that guard? Wang Chongyin, what powerful factions do you have? Why don't you introduce them to us? We'll have to lie and say we have a partner. Gong Jun asked. Wang Chongyin thought about it seriously. If it's the Azure Pendant continent, you can lie and say that you are from the Zheng clan. The Zheng clan is not weak in the Green Canopy continent, and their disciples have the habit of going out to gain experience. The Zheng family, right? Gong Jun smiled. That's right. From now on, we are members of the Zheng family. I have to remind you that the Zheng clan is a large clan. There are many of them here, and it's common for you to be unable to match up. However, this disguise, the slightest bit of carelessness will lead to it being discovered. The mental powers of incipient celestial stage cultivators are extremely sensitive. Even the slightest fluctuation will lead to it being discovered. When that happens, the situation will be even worse. Don't worry, we know what we're doing. We definitely won't be discovered. Gong Jun looked confident. As long as we can save money, this little risk is nothing. Wang Chongyun's lips twitched. The cost of blood spirit stones was indeed not small, but to pretend to be a member of the Zheng clan just to save money, these people's thoughts were truly strange. If the Zheng clan knew about this, what would they think? After entering the near celestial sect, Master had thought that he would see a bustling city. However, the situation was completely different for what he had expected. There was no bustling city ahead, only some eye-catching teleportation arrays. This teleportation array was extremely large, much larger than any teleportation arrays they had seen before. You're tuning into the Romance Rendezvous YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.